Maria,
answer me. So, I really am a stuffed animal made of cloth and cotton, so there's no way I can talk. Is that why I can only talk with you? I can't talk to you. 𝙻𝙾𝚁 looked up at Maria sadly. Maria's face was covered with tears, and she was looking as though she had even lost the emotions of sadness. I can hear you, 𝙻𝙾𝚁. You aren't a stuffed animal made of cloth and cotton. You're my friend. I hate ENG. I'm sorry, Maria. I'm sorry. 𝙻𝙾𝚁 felt regret. By freezing her heart, Maria had finally been able to escape from her sadness. By speaking up and calling her back, she had caused her to become overwhelmed with sadness again. 𝙻𝙾𝚁 tried toddling up to Maria and hugging her, then letting go, gazing at her appearance uneasily and trying it again, lost as to how he could bring Maria's spirits up. He might have looked a little humorous doing that. As a result, that was able to divert Maria's feeling from sadness. Sorry. Crying won't help anything. You got in a fight with ENG, but you still have lots of friends. You still have lots of friends, Maria. Not just me. You have everyone else too. You have everyone else too. Sakusuke and Sakukichi, the animal band, and many, many more. Maria looked at the many stuffed animals around her pillow, which were gathered together as though they were having a conference. They're all worried about you, Maria. They've all been discussing on how to cheer you up, you know? You won't go away like ENG. They won't. We'll always be together. Really? You're all only with me at home. Can't go out together when Mama's with us, and we can't go to school together. We aren't allowed to go to school, so we'll get in trouble if you'll get in trouble if the teacher finds out. But if no one finds out, we can be together at any time. 𝙻𝙾𝚁, you're big, so you'd be found. Then you can take some of the kids that are small enough to walk around with. For example, what about them? If you take the friends in the forest band, look, they're small and they can hide in your pocket and can go to school with you. There's a lot of them in the band. I can fit all of them in my pockets. She gathered all of the forest band pieces that were scattered across her bed. There were about as many as them as pieces in a chess set, so it would probably be impossible to fit them all in her pocket. In that case, you can just take the friends that you're especially close with. Why don't take 4 rabbits, the ones that you're closest to in the forest band? 4 could fit in my pocket. Yeah, this way they won't be found. So, this way, you won't be alone even at school, Maria. Those kids will be with you even where I can't go. Yeah, maybe I won't be lonely that way. Maybe I can hold out until I get home from school. As long as we aren't found by the teacher or Mama, we can be with you at any time. So let's be together forever, play together forever. We definitely won't leave you all alone, Maria. Maria's expression finally regained a little bit of its brightness. That's right. Thinking about it, my world didn't start out with ENG in it. Even without ENG, everyone was together and it was fun. So it's weird to suddenly get sad just because ENG is gone when she was the last to come in. All that's happened is that I've returned to the world right before ENG entered it. So there's nothing to be sad about. Yeah, I'm not lonely. 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝙳 and everyone else is with me. Oh, I love you, Maria. I won't let any more humans come into my world. Mariage sorcière is an alliance only between me and Beatrice. Even Beato opposed letting ENG join in the beginning. It's alright this way. ENG was still too young. Until you can be friends with ENG again, I think it's okay to forget about her for now. Just wait until you've regained your high spirits, and then play with her again. Until then, all of us will be by your side. Thanks. 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝙳, everyone. Cute. Then I once again regained my former world. I regained the world where I wasn't lonely and where I was surrounded by many friends. As always, I didn't have any human friends at school, but my magic friends were always with me. Even during class, I could hear the rabbit band hiding in my pocket, talking together and giggling, and they sounded like they were having a lot of fun. Just listening to that added a lot of color to those lonely school hours. I made sure that my other friends too were always with me, as long as Mama and the teacher wouldn't find out. When Mama told me to go play outside, I would secretly pack 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝙳 and 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳 and the rest into my bag and play together at the library or somewhere. And when Mama was late coming home and I went shopping for dinner, I always went with them. The men working at the convenience store were always nice to 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳. Sometimes they would even give me 2 extra things for free, one for me and one for 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳. Whenever Mama found out, I would get in trouble for bringing 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳 and the rest outside. Whenever the teacher found out, I would get in trouble for bringing toys to school. The toxin must be strong in Mama and the teacher. That's why 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳 and the others just look like normal stuffed animals to them. After all, the men in the convenience stores say hello to 𝙻𝙾𝚳. Not all humans are worthless. There are tons of people who, unlike ENG and Mama and my teacher, they can say hello to magic friends like I can. Oh, Maria-chan, welcome. Is your Mama late coming home tonight too? Yeah, but 𝙻𝙾𝚳's with me, so I'm not lonely. Right, 𝙻𝙾𝚳. Uryu, it's not just me today. Other friends are also with us. Oh, other friends? What kind of friends are you with today? Today, the rabbits from the forest band are also with me. Look, here in my pocket. Maria began to line up 4 ceramic rabbit dolls on the register. As the owner of the shop looked at them with a smile, he signaled a part-timer with his chin. The sign on the other register that said close was taken down and the part-timer called out for everyone to move over there. All the people in line behind Maria formed a new line over there instead. Yes, I see. You sure have a lot of friends, Maria-chan. But I hope your Mama comes home soon. Oh, Mama is busy with work again, so she's staying at the company. Busy with work. Come l'altra volta, rosa di merda, alle cose, alla sauna, cos'era, alle terme? Lasciare tua figlia da sola di 9 anni, da sola per giorni. Quante sberle. She's very busy lately. She hasn't even been able to get much time to talk to me on the phone. But I'm not lonely. I have 𝙻𝙾𝚳 and all the rest. Right? All of the rabbits in the band are with me too. Look! Is QQ the sound a rabbit makes? Come to think of it, I never heard one. After smiling at 𝙻𝙾𝚳, who was poking his head out of her knapsack, she played around with the rabbit's band on the register, making them frolic around. Even as he gazed at this heartwarming sight, the shop manager had a slightly pitying look on his face. That was apparently a family without a father. And no, this was apparently a family without a father, and where the mother had to work hard and couldn't come home very often. Work hard. On top of that, it looked like the girl didn't even have any friends. As he watched this girl play around happily with her dolls and claimed that she wasn't lonely despite everything, he couldn't help but feel a kind of compassion. And actually, this wasn't limited to him alone. Maria had become very famous in this shopping district. Maria-chan, we should eat some oden every once in a while. You won't grow if you don't eat your eggs and fish paste. Can get a cream roll. You need variety or you won't get big. How about oden for today? Okay, I'll have oden. Yeah, that's the ticket. Why don't I stick a whole bunch in there? You want mustard? I can't handle spicy things. Alright, I see. Then you make sure you don't tell it if you don't let it spill on the way home. Best eat it while it's hot. Thank you. She had planned on getting some sweet pastries for dinner like usual, but since oden had been recommended to her, she would be having that tonight instead. Letting someone else determine the menu makes for an unexpected and interesting meal. Very often, Maria had to decide on her own what to have for dinner, so it was easy for the menu to get a little one-sided. So it felt fun to look forward to a meal she hadn't anticipated. Thanks for giving us extra, mister. Send my regards to your other friends at home. No nibbling at it on your way home now. Go straight home and eat it there. Thanks, mister. Maria held the bag with the oden container high for all to see. What is it, Maria? The key isn't in my pocket. Standing in front of the door to her house, Maria searched and patted all over her body. The key to the house wasn't there. She always methodically put it in the same pocket, so there was no way she had put it in any other pocket, but she searched her whole body just in case. It really wasn't there. Did you drop it when you took your wallet out? No, definitely felt it when I took my wallet out. Also, I definitely felt it when I checked my pocket on the way home. It was there until part way. I didn't drop it. The late autumn wind had been made bearable by the thought of the heater that was waiting at home, but now that Maria had lost her key and had no idea what to do, she was really feeling it. And no matter how hard she searched, she couldn't find the key. She turned out all of her pockets and even tried taking off her jacket and hitting it, but to no avail. Of course, she also turned the knapsack Sakutaro was in upside down, but no key came out. Something that should have been there wasn't where it was supposed to be. Why isn't the key there when did I do anything when I didn't do anything wrong? Why isn't it there? Why? Maria stamped on the ground, cold and frustrated and angry. The bottom of her foot throbbed, but even so, it didn't lessen her frustration. Before long, bitter tears were pouring down her face. It wasn't her fault. So it was someone else's. But Maria didn't know who that someone else was, and could do nothing but continue to let out a moan of anger. You must have dropped it part way. Let's look for it, okay? Let's go back to the way we came and search, okay? I was excited to buy Oden and I got eggs and stuff for free. I can't eat it. I can't eat it while it's hot. Maria, I know it's frustrating, but let's search, okay? It's no one's fault. Let's search. Maria finally lent an ear to Sakutaro's words and began to plod back the way she came. The wind was colder than it had been, and it felt like it was blowing in through the gaps of her jacket to spite her. Uryu, let's watch our feet closely and search, okay? And then, let's get home quickly and eat oden while getting warmed by the heater, okay? I'm sure it'll taste good. Not here. Not here. As Sakutaro encouraged her, Maria searched for the key. But she made it all the way back to the convenience store where she'd bought the oden. She hadn't found it. Just in case, she asked the man at the convenience store whether they had found a dropped key, but they hadn't found anything. One more time she returned home, paying close attention to the area around her feet, but still she didn't find it. She was no longer frustrated enough to stomp her feet, but hot tears dripped down her face. The oden was stone cold. Even though the man at the shop had said to eat it while it was hot, she hadn't been able to. She had given her so much extra stuff for free. Don't cry. Mama isn't coming back tonight. Let's do our best to search. Why can't I find it? Maria, don't cry. Let's do our best to search. Maria. Maria was no longer able to hold back her tears. Sobbing, clutching Sakutaro, and with the oden bag in her hand, she returned once more down the road she had come by. Perhaps because it was now later at night and more houses and stores had turned their lights off by now, it was even darker and harder to search than before. And once again, without finding the key, she returned to the convenience store. Maria-chan, you still can't find your key. Key gone. Your mother was away for the night. You can't get into the house without a key. You can't get in. That's a pretty pickle. Did you try going to the police? It might have been handed in. Mama said not to talk to policemen, even if they start talking to me. No, who on earth is that? It was probably because Rosa felt guilty for making such a young girl as Maria watch over the house by herself, and because she knew that it was not socially acceptable. So she had indoctrinated Maria into changing the stores she bought things at, so that she didn't catch the eyes of the adults, and saying no more than a greeting to policemen even if they talked to her. Maria had obediently done as she was told, instead of considering why she had to do that, honestly obeying because her mother had told her Instead of considering why she had to do that, honestly obeying because her mother had told her so was far more important to her. But the manager... Oh! Sì? Grazie. Ok, è arrivato il cibo, però intanto finiamo qui. But the manager of the convenience store probably didn't think of it that way. Naturally, seeing such a young girl being forced to watch over the home alone, and so frequently, would cause anyone to worry. And then, after making the round trip between her home and the store once more, and arriving at the convenience store for a third time, a policeman was there. Avrà chiamato il tipo. Ah, that's a girl. Maria-chan, did you find your key? Can't find it. What's your name, little girl? The policeman asked her name, but Maria didn't answer. Oh, did your mother tell you not to talk with policemen? Don't worry, no need to be scared of me. Have you eaten dinner yet, little girl? I bought it, but I can't get into the aisles, so I can't eat it. What's your mother doing? Is she not coming home today? Is she working? Do you know how we can contact your mother's work? Maria hung her head limply. She didn't understand why the policeman was getting mad at her. No, he wasn't probably getting mad at her, but if this reached her mother's ears, she would definitely be in trouble. Even if she didn't understand the reason why she would be in trouble, she at least understood that much. But the policeman wouldn't let Maria go, and her head was swimming from hunger. Swimming, scusa. Sì, swimming, ok, non sapevo si dicesse così. The policeman noticed that, and it was decided that they could talk as they ate in the police box. I was taken to the police box and had my oden heated in a microwave oven, and there was even salty rice cakes and hot tea brought out for me. I've been told not to talk to the policeman, but as I answered questions about 𝙻𝙾𝚁, I started to feel like he wasn't a bad person, and I wouldn't be able to return home anyway, so I didn't know what to do. So I told him Mama's work phone number, which I wasn't supposed to tell anyone, and was told to use only in very, very serious situations. In the tatami room inside the police box, as I ate the oden that was so hot it felt like it would burn me, I watched the policeman making the phone call, and lazily thought, I'm probably going to get in trouble.
Maria, Mama ni okorareru kana?
Is Mama going to be mad at me? He must have been listening to the phone ringing for a very long time. With the receiver up to his ear, the policeman looked up at the clock and grumbled. Maybe they aren't picking up because their business hours are over. Hello. Hello? Is this Auntie Rosa Co. Limited? This is Katsumagawa Police Department police box in front of 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝙳 station. Is President Udaikan, no, sorry, President Ushiromiya-san available? Yes. What? Vacation? Yes, the president's off for 3 days starting yesterday. Perhaps I could be of assistance? Oh, no, that's quite alright. So, do you know where she may be? Have you heard how she can be contacted by any chance? Would you mind waiting for just a moment? Hey, anyone know where the president's taking her vacation? How to get a hold of her? I heard she was going for an all-you-can-eat crabs in Sapporo with her boyfriend. Lucky girl. Cold places are great for bringing a couple closer together, don't you think? Haven't heard how to get in touch with them. Okie. Hello. I heard she went to Sapporo, but I'm not sure about how to reach her. Can I take a message? I see. That's awkward. Well, if you make contact with her again, could you tell her that we called? Yes, that's right. After that, I was taken to the police station, which was bigger than the police box, and they said I could spend the night there, and they asked me all kinds of things about myself. A lady who called herself the district welfare officer came by and asked about various things. And she said to me, "You poor thing." When I heard that, I learned for the first time. Poor thing. Kawaiso è anche tipo un po' pitiable, è un po'... Sì, se c'è you poor thing, ma nel senso poverina, come diciamo in italiano, no? Mi dispiace. That's true. That's not true. You're happy, Maria. And Rosa came back. Maria was told to go to her room, but on her way back from the bathroom, she hid by the entrance to the living room and listened in on the exchange. The person who had come to visit was the female district welfare officer who had asked Maria various questions the other day. Don't be so pushy. Maria's heart is too innocent and delicate, so if there was an insensitive kid there, she could be hurt. Please stop your unwanted meddling. In that case, ma'am, if the child is so delicate, why leave her alone? Leave her home all alone? Shouldn't a mother be there for her child? I'm here for her as much as I can be. I have no idea what makes you think I needed ordering around. Really? She's very well known in this area, you know. They say that your daughter frequently goes out at night to buy things and eat. Everyone was worried and looking out for her. How do you know that was my child? Children are a dime a dozen around town. Don't just assume that it's my Maria. Kids sometimes walk around outside at night, don't they? How can you prove that all of those are my child? A girl holding a lion stuffed animal often come around to eat dinner and buy things. She was very famous around the shopping district. Everyone treated Maria-chan with care out of concern for her. Sometimes people even escorted her home, thinking the streets might be dangerous at night. You can find lion-stuffed animals everywhere. Was none of their business escorting her home. Are they thinking of kidnapping her or something? Don't fuss over Maria. Maria is my child. I am raising her. I have absolutely no intention of putting her in some strange institution. Stop your needless meddling. That lion-stuffed animal mean me? It's alright. I'm the one who's in trouble. It has nothing to do with you, Sakutaro. Maria hugged Sakutaro, continuing to watch her mother fearfully. I also wish I could be with Maria every day. But I'm a single mother, so I have to work. May not look it, but I am a president of a company, and I bear the responsibility for my employees' well-being. I'm busy with my work all year round. There's no time for me to rest. Really? But you've been off work for the last 3 days, haven't you? I haven't been off work. I've been staying at my company for several nights working. There's a mountain of matters to be taken care of that the unreliable employees can't handle. Why are you lying like that? The people at your company told us that you were taking a 3-day vacation, you know? You went to Hokkaido with your boyfriend, right? Leaving your daughter by herself for 3 whole days. I don't know anything about any boyfriend, and I don't know anything about Hokkaido. Why are you coming out with all of this nonsense? Why? Why? Do you have any proof? What's wrong with you? Don't just butting in on someone else's family matters. I love Maria, and I have my own way of loving her, so keep your mouth shut. I didn't go on vacation. I was working the whole time. I was working. I was trying to finish up at work with all of my strength. All of my strength, because I wanted to see Maria as soon as I could. I stayed at the company working and working and working and working. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about Hokkaido. Don't come in saying all of this. Please, just go. Just go. What is wrong with you? Just go. Rosa raged, her hair flying wildly. She stood up with such force that her teacup fell over, and far louder than any noise was the sound of her beating up the table with both of her hands. When faced with this rage that could actually be described as a wide-eyed derangement, the female welfare officer couldn't help but be taken aback. And the same went for Maria, who was secretly watching this from the hallway. She had seen her mother enraged several times before, but she had never seen her go this berserk with anger. Seeing this, Maria was sure this was no longer her mother. It was some other evil being that was possessing her mother's body. And then the evil being discovered her. Maria learned that she was being reflected in the evil being's eye. Her mind went blank and she felt as though her field of vision was racing off into the distance. After fiercely closing in on Maria, Rosa mercilessly bore down on her small shoulders and dropped her gaze onto the stuffed animal Maria was holding, 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝙳
Maria, あなた、あれだけお外にそれを持って行っちゃダメって言ったのに、持って行ったのね。
Even though I told you so many times not to bring that outside, you brought it with you, didn't you? It's not Maria's fault. He said I'd come with her. That's not true. I brought 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳 on my own because I was lonely. So, Mama, it's not 𝙻𝙾𝚳's fault. It's not 𝙻𝙾𝚳's fault. It's not 𝙻𝙾𝚳's fault. The brunt of Rosa's anger was aimed not at Maria, but at the lion stuffed animal Maria was holding. A girl came shopping in the middle of the night, always clutching a lion stuffed animal. Because of that, she had become well known in the shopping district. I told you not to take stuffed animals with you. Why can't you listen to what Mama says? Why can't you follow Mama's rules? With every single sound, she stamped her heel and banged furiously on the wall. Admittedly, she wasn't making direct contact with Maria. However, the violence of that harsh sound certainly beat against her. Ma'am! Stop that! Let go! I said let go, damn it! The welfare officer had come back to her senses and put Rosa in a full Nelson. Minchia, l'ho presa da dietro così. But the instant Rosa was touched, she went wild, furiously throwing the welfare officer off. She hit the table and fell to the ground. A teacup on the table smashed on the floor, making a violent sound. Maria didn't do anything wrong. It's my fault. So don't scold Maria. I'm the one who brought 𝙻𝙾𝚳. It's not 𝙻𝙾𝚳's fault. It's not 𝙻𝙾𝚳's fault. So don't look at 𝙻𝙾𝚳 with those scary eyes. Don't look at him. Don't scold Maria. Don't scold Maria. What's in the... What do you think you're doing? Did you also play with dolls like that outside? Did you do that in front of the people at the store? And of course they remembered you. Think a little, you idiot. Why are you such a dumbass? Answer me honestly. When you went out shopping, you always walked around with that stuffed animal without telling Mama, right? Stop using that weird stuffed animal talk. Speak with your own words, not a stuffed animal's. 𝙻𝙾𝚳 isn't a stuffed animal. It's my friend. Don't call him a stuffed animal. Yes, fine, 𝙻𝙾𝚳. It was called
ママ
𝙻𝙾𝚁𝙳
に内緒でその作太郎人形を持って
You took the 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳 doll with you all the time you went shopping without telling Mama, right? Maria admitted it honestly. If she hadn't admitted it, then 𝙻𝙾𝚳 would have said something to take the blame. So by admitting it right away, she was protecting her small friend.
作太郎だけ
Only 𝙻𝙾𝚳?
他には
Any others?
まさか
You haven't been bringing
学
weird
校にも
things to
何か変
school,
なの
have
持って行
you?
ってるんじゃないでしょうねお母さん
Ma'am,
お嬢さんは悪くない
this
で
is
しょ
not your daughter's
そ
fault.
の質問をおやめなさい
Stop this interrogation at once.
あんたは黙って
You
なさい
bite your tongue.
私と娘の
I'm
話でしょ
talking with my daughter.
ほらマリア
Alright, Maria.
ママの
Look at
目を見て
Mama when
話
you
をしな
talk.
さいママの質問にお
What's
返
the
事
answer
は
to Mama's question?
サク太郎だけじゃないの。ウサギのみんなも
Oh,
一緒。
the rabbits too.
今も持っ
Do
て
you
る
have them with you now?
お
Mama fished. Maria fished around in her pocket and pulled out one of those forged ceramic rabbits with her tiny hand. The rabbits were her precious friends, who could go to school with her in 𝙻𝙾𝚳's place. But when Rosa saw that, she shook her head slightly as though dizzy. In Maria's communication booklet, a note had been written that Maria was apparently bringing toys to school and playing with them, and it requested Rosa to give her home instruction to try and prevent this. But Rosa had dismissed the teacher's comment as fault-finding, and on the contrary had phoned the school to make a complaint on her own, saying that there was no way her child would bring toys to school. For nearly an hour she had shouted at the vice principal to stop making false accusations about her daughter. To a certain degree, the school grasped that Maria was a pitiful girl. They knew that the small toys she brought in were her only friends, so they had done their best to overlook it. But when the other students caught sight of them, some of the boys started complaining that she was allowed to bring toys, and the school had racked their brains on how to cope with this. They had tried to gently send a warning by way of her mother, but after Rosa's overreaction, even Maria's teacher had decided to overlook it. But now Rosa knew she had the one who was wrong, and her daughter really had been bringing toys into school, and the school had seen the sorry side of her bringing toys into the school and playing with them as her only friends. To Rosa, who knew her daughter was a little different from normal children, having this peculiar side of her daughter exposed and found fault with was more unbearable than anything. And she howled, she raged. The welfare officer tried to cut between Rosa and Maria again, but she only met with Rosa's wrath again. Rosa once again threw the woman off with a face like a demon, and when even that failed to curb her anger, she stomped on the ground over and over again, so forcefully that it seemed she might break through the floor. Then, after seeming to have come back to her senses for just a second, she suddenly froze her rough breathing and asked Maria, Maria, those rabbits in the band, are they your close friends? I see. I'm glad you have four friends. As she said that, Rosa took one of the rabbits from Maria's hand, and then she shoved it in front of Maria's eyes so she could see it very well. It was a cute little doll, dressed like a chess piece of a rabbit holding a trumpet. She slowly lifted it into the air. Of course, Maria and 𝙻𝙾𝚳's eyes also followed it. And then, with a speed that the eye couldn't follow, she hurled it against the wall. She had half imagined that this was the worst possible thing that might happen. So she instantly realized what had been done. So Maria let out a short, despairing scream. It was in pieces. It had been small and sturdy, but not enough to accept her mother's fierce rage. Because you didn't listen to what Mama told you, one of them broke. From now on, every time you disobey something Mama says, I'll break another one. Remember that. You call yourself a mother after doing something like that? You think you can do something like that without hurting your daughter? Hurt Maria? I'm hurting too, you know. Who's gonna take responsibility for my wounds? Well, who? I told you to bite your tongue. Stop it, Mama. It's my fault. Don't get mad at this lady. It isn't Maria's fault, it's mine. Don't get mad at Maria. I told you to stop playing make-believe with that stuffed animal. In the first place, it's disturbing a stuffed animal is your friend. Just how old you are this year? How old? Well, this is just a gross, crappy stuffed animal made of cloth and cotton. Is this the only kind of friend you have? If you have enough time to put on your hands to play make-believe friends with these monstrous stuffed animals, go outside and make some real human friends instead. Why is it that time goes on and you still can't make any friends? That's why your class always treats you like a weirdo and makes fun of you. Cut it out, give it a rest, get a hold of yourself already. Grow up from this stuffed animal play. I said... Sì, Sakutaro e Mariano su doppiatore. I said stop playing make-believe with that stuffed animal. Mama, give it back. Give Sakutaro back. Mama grabbed hold of Sakutaro's head and snatched him from me. Then she smashed him against the wall over and over. Fucking stop! Fucking stop playing make-believe with this stuffed animal. It's because of this stuffed animal. This is why you can never make any friends. That's why you're the only one in your class who sticks out like a sore thumb and gets treated like a weird kid. I should have never given you a stuffed animal like this. I should have never given you this disgusting stuffed animal. Stop it, give Sakutaro... Beh, un po'... vabbè... non riesco a dare la stessa emozione. Give Sakutaro back, give Sakutaro back! Sakutaro is my friend, my best friend! I don't need anything else if I just have Sakutaro. So please give him back! For some reason, my frantic request just added oil to the fire of Mama's anger. As I pulled on Sakutaro, trying to take him back, Mama pushed my arm aside, and in a bizarre way, she stuck her fingernails on both hands deep into Sakutaro, twisting him. The red scarf which I had carefully wrapped for him every day came undone and fell to the floor. Sakutaro, who had been so precious to me, was crumbled, twisted, torn at the fingernails so much. He was twisted in pain, his face grimacing so sadly. Then Mama's fingers found a stitch on the neck and tore it. With the fingernails on both hands, she tore him apart. In that instant, 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳 yellow cloth and the cotton inside burst apart. It looked almost like moist cotton candy.
太郎いや𝙻太郎
The crumpled yellow cloth and the cotton candy that was flowing out were thrust right in front of my eyes. Then, through Mama's face, the evil being stated it clearly. 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳 is dead.
Maria, 泣くんでない。
Maria, don't cry.
𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳は良き友人であった。
𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳 was a good friend.
そなたがそれを忘れぬた
As
め
long as you do not forget
常
that,
にそなたと共にある。
he will always be with you.
だから泣くんでない。
So don't cry. Bring him back to life. You can use a lot of magic, Beato. You can bring 𝙻𝙾𝚳 back to life as well, right?
それは
About that.
無論
Of course, if
𝙻𝙾𝚳
𝙻𝙾𝚳 had been my furniture, it would
そ
be
れも
easy.
たやすい。しかし
However, 𝙻𝙾𝚳 is
そなた
your
の家
furniture.
具わらわにそ
That
れは
makes it
難しい。
difficult for me.
難しいってこと
Difficult but not impossible, right? Bring him back to life. Bring him back to life with the endless magic.
実はな、
Tell the truth.
𝙻𝙾𝚳 のよりしろは
𝙻𝙾𝚳's vessel was a stuffed animal Rosa made herself, correct?
そのローザが
To think
𝙻𝙾𝚳
that Rosa had denied 𝙻𝙾𝚳
母にその生
a
を許
life
され
that
な
is
かっ
not
た命は
permitted by its own mother
存在できない。
cannot exist. Beatrice's words were feeble because she knew that no matter what excuse, it wouldn't be enough to calm Maria and make her accept it. But she had to communicate the painful truth to a disciple and close friend. She had to tell her the fact that even with all of her magic, even she could not revive 𝙻𝙾𝚳.
そなたが𝙻𝙾𝚳の存在を強く
As
信
long
じ
as
る
you
限り
continue to strongly believe in 𝙻𝙾𝚳's existence, his soul will not disappear.
マリ
So, Maria,
ア、どうか悲
please
し
do
む。
not be sad.
今もほら、
Even
す
now,
ぐそこで𝙻𝙾𝚳
you
が
must
微笑んで
believe
いる
that
と
𝙻𝙾𝚳 is
信じる。
smiling right over there. No, 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 no! You have to bring 𝙻𝙾𝚳 back to life.
諦めよ。
Give up.
𝙻𝙾𝚳を蘇らせる
There
魔
is
法
no
はない。
magic to revive 𝙻𝙾𝚳.
そして
You must strongly believe that even in spite all of that, 𝙻𝙾𝚳 will continue to exist as your close friend. The power will become magic.
そんなの魔法じゃない。
That's not magic. That's not magic. You have to bring 𝙻𝙾𝚳 back to life.
ママの手作りだ
You
から
can't do it because Mama made him herself.
どうしてママは𝙻𝙾𝚳
Why did Mama make 𝙻𝙾𝚳?
マリアにプレゼント
Wasn't it to
するためじゃないの
give him to me as a present?
マリアのお友達
Wasn't
にするた
it
め
to
じゃない
make him my friend?
なのに
Then
なんで
why did Mama make him herself and break him
自
herself?
分で壊したのどうしてママは自分で
Why did Mama create him herself and try to break him herself?
わかんないわかんない
Don't get it.
ママが憎いよ
I hate
ママが
Mama.
憎い
I hate Mama.
悔しい
I can't stand it. I can't stand it. It's too much. It's too much.
𝙻𝙾𝚳がそうされたようにママをね
You want to twist Mama up like she did
爪
𝙻𝙾𝚳.
を立てて
I want to stick my fingernails in and tear her, turn her into cloth and cotton.
悔しいよベアトリーチェサク太郎
From the darkness behind Maria's back, two massive jet black arms crept out, coiling around Maria as she sobbed in anger. Then massive fingernails stuck into Maria's chest and stomach. Maria could not see them, but Beato could. Anger and sadness without any place to go will tear you apart. Beato knew that, and she could see that, yes. In the end, those two massive arms were Maria's own. Those fingernails slowly starting to dig into her chest and stomach. With their immense size and strength, those arms would probably tear Maria into bits easily. But Maria herself couldn't notice. Drowning into a sea of her own tears, she couldn't notice that her own arms were trying to tear apart her own chest.
悔しいサク太郎がどうしても生き返らせられないならマリアは復讐したいママを同じ目に遭わせてやりたいサク太郎と同じ目に遭わせてやりたいの
Can't stand it, I can't stand it. If Sakutaro can't be brought back to life no matter what. I want revenge. I want to make the same thing happen to Mama. I want to make her suffer the same thing as Sakutaro. Beatrice, teach me magic for that. Teach me magic to get back at Mama. Are those your true feelings? Kill Mama. Kill her. That's not Mama. It's the bad witch possessing Mama. I'll kill the witch Mama. Very well. I shall give you that power. If you, beautiful of heart, shall otherwise be torn asunder by your own hand, and I find your heartless mother, who brought such a suffering upon you, considerably more deserving of such a fate. I shall teach you of the abyss in the world of witches, of the depths where no light reaches. I hate everyone. I hate them. I hate them. I hate Maria. I hate Mama. I hate Angel. I hate everyone. Everyone. The World of 12 Years Later, October 1998. Finita questa piccola parte, volevo controllare se adesso c'è Sakutaro morto. Witch's Side. Sì. Lady Maria's pure white heart torn asunder. His broken vessel can now be regenerated by Rosa, the Meister who made him. Can only be regenerated by Rosa. However, Rosa disposed of all of this vessel's scraps and even lost the sewing pattern. On top of this, because his existence was denied by the Meister herself, resurrecting him is impossible. With the Meister's death in 1986, his resurrection was forever lost. Resurrecting him is impossible even for the endless witch, Beatrice. Tutto questo mi ha fatto venire in mente una domanda. Abbiamo mai visto della magia come quella a Rokkenjima fuori da Rokkenjima? Dici roba pazza tipo lo scontro tra Virgilia e Beatrice? No, robe di questo genere no. Magia che influenzasse altri no. Abbiamo visto solo come magia c'è... Beh, oddio, è vero, c'è Ben Castle che è apparsa davanti a Enge. Però anche lì è solo Enge, gli altri, i tizi che lo stavano che stavano inseguendo Enge non hanno detto nulla di aver visto Ben Castle. E Enge, dico gli altri, Enge non conta. Allora no. No. Fuori da Rokkenjima, nei flashback con Shannon e Canon che parlano a Beatrice prima degli eventi di Rokkenjima. Però fuori da Rokkenjima no, perché Shannon e Canon hanno avuto gli incontri con Rokkenjima sempre con Beatrice sempre a Rokkenjima. Vabbè, ottima osservazione comunque, Andrew. I'm glad to have you back. Comunque, ora siamo tornati nel 98. I've been trying to take a nap, but the boat really was shaking bad. The boat? I gave up on sleeping and went up onto the deck. I was welcomed by the shining sun and a strong sea breeze. Up on the deck, Amakusa was doing some stretches. He probably has a lot of time on his hands too. It'll still take a while longer to reach Nijima. Ok, quindi stiamo arrivando a Nijima e poi da Nijima si va a Rokkenjima. It would only have taken on the order of half an hour by airplane, but there was a chance that the Sumaderas were net extending over Nijima's... mamma mia. It would have only taken one... It would only have taken on the order of half an hour by airplane, but there was the chance that the Sumaderas net extended over Nijima Airport. The harbor would probably have been the same. For that reason, I had obtained a boat that would let me land while avoiding the harbor with no questions asked. I'd bumped into a cheery boat captain, treated him with generosity, and he had decided to help me out. Amused. Treated with cosa hai detto? Treated with generosity. Mazzetta. Portami a Nijima, stronzo. Still going to be a while. Just as the captain, it sounds like it'll take full 2 hours more. Well, beggars can't be choosers. The weather sure is nice. Feels like I'll burn. Going to read on the deck? Will damage the book. Makusa apparently got the idea because I was clutching Maria-Nechan's diary under my arm. I've been reading it and as I tried to fall asleep, which was why I'd come back up still carrying it. How's it going? Think you'll be able to find the truth of Rokkenjima from Maria-san's diary? Who knows? No matter how much I investigate what happened on that island, it won't make for anything more than a theory. There's no truth written in a message bottle or Nechan's diary, just a fairy tale with a witch walking around. I'm stuck. Looks like you're just going to have a bank on what you can get out of the relevant people on Nijima. I imagine the witch hunters have subjected them to endless questioning, so I'm pretty sure I won't find any new facts. So even though your hopes are that low, you're still willing to spend a half-day trip on boat to get to Nijima anyway. You really are fickle. It's like a journey of self-satisfaction, so that I can say I investigated. I'm not so naive as to seriously think that I can unlock the truth of 12 years ago. When you're finished with your self-satisfaction, what do you plan to do? Who knows? Haven't thought about it. I'll go to Nijima, ask some question of people related to all of this. Then, after going to Rokkenjima in the end and leaving some flowers, my journey will be over. Several days had passed since the journey began. After being told by Ben Castle on the roof of that building to search for the truth of 12 years ago, I left on a journey akin to trying to grasp a cloud. At the time, I felt something mystical about it, and I remembered feeling as I might be able to grasp some kind of miracle at the end of this journey. But several days are enough to bring a person back down from that high. As I stood on the roof of that skyscraper that day, my heart had nowhere left to go. It was completely dead. Wanting from the bottom of my heart to be released from the cage of my body and rise into the sky, I crossed the fence in order to die. Maybe experiencing the desire to die and actually stepping forwards, throwing my body down, caused some kind of mystical experience inside my head, making me think I had received a message from a witch. The more the excitement from jumping down lessened over me, the more I came back to my senses, the more this journey lost its meaning. And I never considered suspending this journey just because of that. If I stopped this journey, it would mean acknowledging that the message from that witch was an illusion. And I felt as if that meant throwing away the promise the witch had made, and any chance that someone from my family might be coming back. So I'm continuing this journey because I want to believe in that illusion. I don't seriously believe that this journey will change anything. And I'm even free to end it at any time. It's up to me to choose where the final destination is. In the end, this journey is only for my personal self-satisfaction. Self-satisfaction, is it? Sounds bad when you say it out loud, but I think that's life. Huh? If that's the answer you reach after crawling across the line between life and death in the mercenary business, that's probably pretty deep. Don't just laugh it off. What I'm trying to say is there's no self about it in this world. The only one capable of satisfying you is yourself. Makusa continued stretching as he spoke, in an annoyingly eloquent way. Hearing it told to me as though from a teacher made me instinctively want to resist, but what he was saying was extremely sensible. That may be true. People work hard when they want to satisfy someone. In most cases, that someone is their parents. Children learn how to work hard because they want to be praised by their parents. Of course, that's why I never learned. Sorry, that's not what I intended to say. What I want to say is that self-satisfaction is A-okay. No matter who praises you, it's meaningless unless you yourself are satisfied. Turning it around, even if no one praises you, that doesn't mean that doesn't matter as long as you are satisfied yourself. Self-satisfaction and self-improvement contradict each other, so we're usually taught that the former is bad. Your argument is kind of a breath of fresh air. The anguish of the human world comes when you want to satisfy someone, you want recognition, but you don't know where to put the effort. I had a time like that too. I wanted the recognition, but I didn't know what I wanted the recognition for. And since I didn't know what I was meant to put effort in, or how much, or even who I wanted to give me that recognition, I did a lot of crazy things. And the answer you reached was self-satisfaction? It sounds bad, but just that's how it is. Rich is the one who's content with what they are, they say. If I receive this life I'm happy with, no one has any right to tell me any different. It's the same for your life and for this journey. No one has any right to object other than yourself. You are the only one who determines the meaning and worth of your journey. If it turns out that if it turns out to have been a meaningful journey for you, then that's more than enough. I thought you were the kind of guy who never takes things seriously, but you really do say some weird things every once in a while. I bet you think saying things like that every now and then will make you hit with the ladies. Oh, you've got me all wrong. That's not why I said it. It looks like you want to be alone. I'll be over with the captain. Please, take your time. It seems Samakusa had decided I was in a bad mood, although I didn't feel that way myself. Maybe he had just finished a set of stretches and wanted to cool off in the shade. The sea winds were strong, but not enough to take the edge off the rays of the sun. Amakusa disappeared, only I remained. Satisfaction is life, he says. That's just boring. Life is nothing without greed. I noticed that Mammon had suddenly appeared, her full hair streaming out in the wind by the prow of the ship, the poppa, in the prow of the ship. It's true that life of greed would be fun, but unlike you, humans have a limited lifespan. If a person remains greedy for eternity, that means that they have desires even in the last moment before they die. Having desires means that there's something they want, something they don't have, some way they aren't complete. I'm sure it's tough to die when you can't think of yourself as being fulfilled. So I'm sure self-satisfaction is actually necessary. I see. Then beings with lifespans need to make that kind of compromise. Our masters always had very long lifespans, so I never thought of it. I wonder if humans live so they can be satisfied. If so, to seek nothing is probably the easiest way to live. Yes, makes sense why greed is one of the 7 deadly sins. Your praise honors me. Apparently that counted as praise in Memmon's eyes. She turned and gave a graceful curtsy. Curtsy. Come cazzo si dice? Curtsy. Engie-sama, do humans live so they can be satisfied at the moment of their death? Must be pretty tough to be somehow incomplete at the moment of your death, right? If so, then humans live only so they can have a satisfying death. They live so they can have a better death. They live to die. Wow, that's a hell of a thing to say. Yes, I should have expected that from a demon stake. However, her words might be the truth. Humans suffer because they aren't whole and live only to be made whole. That might be the same, in other words, as a desire to die while whole. I have no argument against that. People live in order to be content, and they hope to die while still content. So, not knowing how to make yourself content, make yourself complete, is very tough. How does a human do that? Make their life complete. Receiving validation, acceptance, that they live happy. If it doesn't matter who accepts you, then I'll do it myself if you like. Yes, that's just it. People don't know whose acceptance they need. So searching for that person to accept them is their journey of life. Sounds strange, doesn't it? Whether you find acceptance or not, it shouldn't change your circumstances. And yet, if you find acceptance, you'll be whole. And if you don't, then you won't. It's almost like the bluebird. Even though the bluebird is already in the cage, you can't notice it. So you have to go out on a journey searching everywhere. What the heck? Human lives are so stupid. Sure are stupid. That's right. Amakusa really hit on something. Rich is the one who is content with what they are, was it? I don't know where that proverb comes from, but it's deep. In short, if you won't be fully content unless you have someone's acceptance, then that's the same as not being able to accept yourself. Turns out, the ultimate self-fulfillment begins with self-acceptance. Grande. Well, of course. Because if you can become aware that you are fulfilled, there's no need for anyone else's acceptance. Just by taking notice of that small little thing, humans' foolish lifelong journey can be ended easily. Then they can spend the rest of their life effectively, playing and having a good time. A human's life is so ridiculous. Mammon's choice of words was bad, but he was surely telling the truth. If most of a human's life is a journey wishing for someone's acceptance so they can achieve a satisfying death, then the moment they realize that the person to accept them is not someone else, but themselves, they can end that pointless journey. Humans who have finished that journey can probably spend the rest of their lives as they wish, with their heads held high. How sublime, how praiseworthy that would be. You know, it seems Amakusa's on pretty bad terms with his parents. Makes sense, right? Amakusa is in the kind of trait that any sane parent would want their kid to wash his hands off. Why does it matter if he's enjoying it? Exactly. That's what it comes down to in the end. Your worth as observed by others doesn't matter. If your existence is firmly accepted by you yourself, that's enough. If you can live with confidence in yourself, surely you can accept and find satisfaction in any kind of lifestyle. I'm sure Amakusa will eventually eat a stray bullet on the battlefield and get seriously injured. Might even die. But I don't think Amakusa will think of it as unfair. I'm sure he'll cackle about how that too is life. What a great way to live. I'm enchanted. Pitiful humans who can't accept themselves, wander about searching for it for their whole lives, doing nothing but grumbling and complaining, unable to come to terms with anything, ultimately dying while still unfulfilled. How pitiful. Compared to people whose lives drag on without any purpose, Amakusa is more likely to eventually die by the roadside. But I think he's much more noble for living his life with his chest stuck out. Maybe the enlightened are the winners in life. If you can come to that realization even a little sooner, you'll be able to put that much more of your life to good use. And at those words of Mammon's, I finally came to terms with a certain fact. I had described her as an abnormal kid, little strange. However, that wasn't the case. She simply finished that journey faster than anyone else, and taught herself to keep her own chin up and live with confidence. Maybe that's what made Maria-o-nechan so amazing. She had already reached that point at that age where she was only just about to begin elementary school. Other people like us, looking at her life from the outside, couldn't call it happy by any standard. But even though such days were engraved in her diary, the entries always finished up by saying it was a happy day. Even though you can catch glimpses of her mother's lack of love for her, In spite of that, she believed that her mother did love her. The mother's love that didn't exist, she created herself, filling her world with love. Others observed her as an unfulfilled, pitiful girl, but she told herself that she was fulfilled and accepted herself how she was. And so she was happy that way. It's easy to observe that as something pitiable and sad, but to her that was an outsider's opinion and didn't matter in the slightest. The all important thing was whether or not this was happiness to her. And just like how when people who live in the city point to the lifestyles of those in the country and lament the inconvenience and feel sympathy for them, it really just misplaced kindness. If those who live there are satisfied with what they have, that's more than enough. I finally realized something. Realized it just now. I did something horrible to Maria-ne-chan and to all of you and 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝙳 as well on that day. The question or whether magic exists or not, it's not up to the other people to decide. It's up to you yourself. Whether magic exists to Maria-ne-chan is a problem for Maria-ne-chan to decide, not for me. And yet, when I was young, I said it that day. I told her there's no way magic exists, and I hurt her. To me, magic doesn't exist, but that's my world. Denying One-chan's world as well, just because of that, was totally barking up the wrong tree. Mariage Sorcière is the Witches Alliance Maria-ne-chan created. I was invited into that and invited to become a witch with her. I thought it was a fun new game and I went along with it for a while. But because of the cruelty of the youth, I got tired of it halfway through. And then with sharp words I tore her pure and innocent heart apart. At that time, we must have gotten into a huge fight. I forgot about it right away, but it was unforgettable for her. After all, to her, magic was a natural power that emphatically existed, and she believed that she'd been able to share that with me. Magic, to Maria-ne-chan, was a power by which she could give the world a happy interpretation. Which could make everything happy, was truly a magical power. She just wanted to share that with me too. The young me tore those feelings apart, so she closed herself up in a shell, believing that no one could understand magic with her. If so, then Lady Maria's life journey wasn't over after all. If she had accepted herself, there would be no need for her to feel down just because you denied her. One-chan was young, she still hadn't reached the same kind of philosophical viewpoint as Amakusa. And that explains it perfectly, why the Witches' Alliance called Mariage Sorcière was necessary. An alliance where each accepts that the other is a witch. That's right. I'm pretty sure that was the first article in agreement of Mariage Sorcière. Witches of the Alliance must accept each other and respect each other. That is the deepest and only meaning of the Witches' Alliance. Maria-ne-chan wanted to share with me the secret laws for making the world happy, called magic. But I was young, and she was too. I hurt her with innocent cruelty. On that day I said it, those reckless words, to all of you and 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝙳. I say there's no way you exist. I'm offended. We accept that we exist ourselves. We're not like humans, with their souls half asleep. I think, therefore I am. Whether you accept or deny magic, the existence of the magic called the 7 stakes of purgatory is therefore a fact. As long as we accept ourselves, to borrow your words, to borrow your words. It truly would be violent for another person like me to deny that. I'm sure that would be like having your true mother yell, "I wish you had never been born." No, get out of my life. Even though being slammed by all of those words, Maria Onechan's magic made her believe in her mother's love. Sakutaro, her magic friend, also encouraged her and kept saying that her mother loved her, that she was coming home late because of work, and that she would definitely bring back a present. Even after Maria learned the fact that it wasn't really because of work, magic still kept her believing that. So, by believing that her mother loved her, by accepting herself, she filled her world with love and peace and serenity and established it perfectly. What happened 12 years ago? What happened to my family? This was not a journey to search for that. Then, what is this journey? It was a journey to apologize to Maria Onechan for what happened on that day. I don't know why, but that's what I think. If I hadn't hurt her that day, the incident 12 years ago might not have occurred. Addirittura. That's what I think. I have no basis for it. I don't have a clue how hurting Onechan would be connected to that mysterious incident several years later, but for some reason, I can imagine that there is no connection. A witch caused that accident, and the culprit is the golden witch Beatrice. And Beatrice was a part of Mariage Sorcière alliance of witches. I had horribly hurt the other witch of the alliance. I hurt her by saying that magic doesn't exist. And that's why, several years later, an inexplicable crime by a witch occurred, and a 2-day period which can't be explained with anything but magic was thrust in my face via magic battle. I'm sure that I'm not unrelated. I don't know. Could be chance, could be fate. For some reason, I just started thinking that way on this journey. And your basis? None. It's just what I've been thinking. Japanese are sure interesting. Even if they are the victim, they feel as though they did something wrong and apologize for no reason. I can understand if you said, I hate Beatrice-sama for stealing my family or something. But you really are an odd one, feeling guilty for no reason and apologizing. Of course, I do hate Beatrice. I couldn't continue this journey without that feeling. But it's alright for me to find another purpose in this journey. There's nothing wrong with me adding the goal of apologizing for past sins onto this journey for revenge on a witch of 12 years prior. I can at least go to Rokkenjima, apologize for my reckless remarks and offer flowers. No, there's something better than flowers, and I think that would be more fitting for Onechan. I stood up, and ignoring my hair being blown about by the sea breeze, I concentrated my mind. I lifted my palms up to the out of the height of my head and imagined a vast space. Enji-sama? Quiet. Come, arise. I am the witch apprentice, Enji Beatrice. Though I was excommunicated, I was once a member of the same alliance, and you are dearly Miss Furniture who played with me. Answer my call. It was hard to tell in the middle of the day, but a faint blue light gathered around the palms of my hands. Then I revived Sakutaro's form. It truly was long missed, that figure. His cute ears, his bright red scarf. It came off easy, so Onechan faithfully re-wrapped it all the time, didn't she? Sakutaro! Recognize us? Do you know who we are?
Mama, Enji.
With a sleepy face, as though waking up from a long slumber, Sakutaro looked all around and as he spoke.
お久しぶりね
It's been a long
サ
time,
クタロ
Sakutaro.
あなたを私の力で
I'm
呼び
pretty
出す
sure
の
this is
は
the first time I've
きっとこれが
summoned you
初め
with
てだ
my own power.
そして今や
And now
私にし
I'm
か
the
呼び
only
出
one
せ
who
ない
can.
ウリュウ
Those words might have actually been a bit cruel. Sakutaro's face clouded over.
かつての私は
In the past,
あなたを
I
否定した
denied you.
その私があなたを
Now
呼び
that I
出
have
したというこ
summoned
と
you,
はあなたの存在
that
を
means that I have
私
accepted
が
your
認めたというこ
existence.
といいの
Is it okay?
僕は
Is it okay for me to be
エンジ
summoned
の
into
世
your
界に呼
world?
び出されてもいいの
His eyes were slightly frightened. It was only natural. I, who had played with him like a friend before, had one day suddenly denied him and tried to burn him with the anti-magic toxin. It was only natural that he was scared.
謝るわ
I
あの
apologize
日のこと
for that
マ
day.
モンにも
To you too, Mammon,
そして
and the rest
Minna
of you. At some point, the rest of the seven sisters had gathered on the deck. No, they are there at all times, always by my side. As long as I accepted that it's okay for them to be there, they will appear anytime.
あなたたちは確かに
You
存在する
certainly
わ
do
ル
exist,
シファーも
Lucifer,
レビアタンも
and
サタン
Leviathan,
も
and
ベル
Satan,
フェゴールも
and
マモン
Belphegor,
も
and
ベル
Mammon,
ゼブブも
and Beelzebub,
アスモデウス
and
もそ
Asmodeus,
して
and
Sakutaro.
Sakutaro too.
よろしいのですか
Is that
エン
alright?
ジェ様はベ
Angel
アト
sama.
リーチェ様に挑もうというお
I,
方
you are the one who is challenging Beatrice
魔女
sama.
を否定される
Is
立場
it
にあられ
alright
る
for
のかな
one in your position of denying witches to
よろしいのですか
accept us?
私の世界にとって
About whether
魔法は
magic
存在する
exists
か
or
どうか
not in my world?
悪いけど
Sorry,
こうさせ
well,
て
let
も
me
らう
put that question on hold.
私自身は
It's not like
魔法
I
の存在を
myself
認めたわけじゃない
have accepted the existence of magic.
なのに
Yet,
我らを認
you
めるという
accept
矛
us?
盾はどう
How
いう
do
こ
you
とです
explain that contradiction?
魔法は
Because
信
magic
じる人には
exists for
存
people
在す
who
るって
believe,
ことよ私が信じなくて
even
も
if I don't.
誰かが信じた
If
なら
someone believes,
そ
then
の人
magic
の世
will
界に
exist in
は
that
魔法が
person's
存在す
world.
るわそれは私が魔法を信じたって信じなくたって何の
That
関
will
係も
not be
ない
interfered with any way, whether I believe in magic or not.
いいえ受けてはいけないの
No,
よ
it must not be interfered with.
そのそは
That person just needs to hold their head up high and believe in their own
そ
magic,
して私は
and I will
それを
accept
認める
that.
だから
So it
あなたたち
isn't
が存在
strange
して
at
も
all for you
全然
guys
おか
to
しくはないのよ
exist.
なかなかの奇弁ですが
That's quite the realization, but an interesting interpretation, I would say.
エンジェ様のそれは
What you're saying,
悪魔
Angesama,
の証明その
is
ものでしょう
probably a devil's proof.
悪魔の証明
Devil's proof? After all,
悪魔の存
to
在を
prove the
証明す
existence
る
of
には
demons, you need to bring one with you.
悪魔の存在を否定
But
する
denying the
ことだ
existence
け
of
は
demons is impossible.
そして私たち
And
は
yet,
ここにいる
here we
つま
are.
りそれは
That means that whether Angesama believes in magic or not, our existence is unshakable.
無流エンジから
The anti-magic toxin is disappearing from Enge. You're right.
魔法を否定する立
She's
場な
in
の
a position of denying magic, so why?
それは多分
That's probably because I learned
認める
respect
という
and
心を知ったから
acceptance.
だわ今の私に
Now
は
I might be able to
そ
understand
してベ
the
アトリー
depths
チェ
of
の魔法の
Maria
真意を
Onechan's magic and
理解でき
Beatrice.
るかもしれない
In the past, I insisted that I didn't believe in things like magic, but something like that couldn't exist. I acted like I had my eyes tightly shut and couldn't see anything. But now I'm different. I get the feeling I can look right at this thing called magic and close my eyes on its true nature.
惜しいわ
How
こ
frustrating.
の現代に
It's truly rare to find a human so free of the anti-magic toxin in this day and age.
魔女に向いた稀有な
And
才
she
能
had
な
such an uncommon genius for being a witch.
そうね
That's
今
right.
のエンジェ様
If
が
Ange-sama
魔女を
tried to
目指
become a
して
witch
くださった
now,
ベアトリーチェ
she
様
could
の
grow
夢
to
かも
be a
しれない
great witch,
大
maybe
魔女
even
に
at
成長される
Beatrice
かも
Sama's
しれないの
level.
にそれでも
Even so, she is our master and has accepted our
お
existence.
そらく
Most
エ
likely,
ンジェ様が我らの最後
Ange-sama
の
will
主
be
とな
our
るだろう
final master.
最後の奉公
Let
と
us
思い
think of this as our final service and apply ourselves to the fullest.
なのに
I can't just stand that Ange-sama still doesn't believe in magic herself.
エンジェ様
Sama, please believe in magic too. Feels like a waste to finally have a master and have it not be a witch. Even though you have outstanding talent which could make you one of the greatest of witches, your goal is to slay them. Such a shame. Well, that's her life, her way of living. And if that's the way she decides her world is going to be, there's nothing we can achieve by complaining. Thanks for understanding me. Yeah, whether magic exists to me or not, that's up to me to decide. Whether magic actually does exist somewhere in the world or not, you see. When I think about it, the world is so vast and yet so small. Billions of people live on the earth, and I probably won't be able even to meet 1%, and I probably won't meet even 1% of those people. Even so, I will speak of the world. Without knowing even 1% of the world, I will speak of my world. Not qualified to deny the laws of the world of all I don't know. So just because magic doesn't exist in my world, I can't deny the magic exists in a world I don't know. That makes it a true devil's proof. No, maybe it's like when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I can be confident in the world I know. So even if my world is denied by a complete stranger who doesn't know anything about it, that's nothing to worry about. And in the same way, just because I don't know another's world, that doesn't make me qualified to deny it. Which is why, regardless of whether there is magic in my world or not, I cannot deny the magic Maria One-chan taught me. After all, even if you never see it, magic exists. Yes, that's why, as I've already said, your existence as friends of the Mariage Sorcière Alliance of Witches cannot be denied by me or anyone else. I proclaim the most important part again. Even though the sea breeze and the crashing of the waves were noisy, it was a time of silence. Both 𝙻𝙾𝚁 and the seven sisters of Purgatory reflected upon my words. And probably I did too. Does magic exist or not? Does witches exist or not? I reflected on the fact that, while ignoring what the answer was within my world, I had declared openly that I would accept their existence despite being a contradiction. Thank you, ENG. If you will accept that much, perhaps one day witches could also... No, what a foolish question. You already have a clear answer to that question. Sorry, I do accept that witches might exist somewhere in this world, but my world will not waver. You won't accept witches or magic, you'll definitely expose the truth, Orokinjima. Right? Yes, that is my world. Even if a witch really does exist, I won't accept her in my world. No matter how much that witch tries to court me. Your position is to slay witches, and I now understand well that you'll have not the slightest wavering in that feeling. We are your furniture, the seven sisters of Purgatory. We will always be by your side. We will always be waiting for the day that we can be useful. Although, since you don't believe in magic, we can never be anything more than someone to talk to. That's enough for now. We've been left room to exist. For that alone, we should thank and accept ENG-sama. In short, all of us can be together again. As 𝙻𝙾𝚁 was overcome with emotion and tears came to his eyes, the seven sisters closed in and mobbed him. They were also celebrating a long-awaited reunion, because they were granted permission to exist. They can exist here without doubt. No, they can exist even if I don't permit it. Because I accepted them, they showed their reunion's joy to me as well. As I watched over that scene, I reflected on the meaning of this journey of mine. I wonder if everyone will forgive me this way.
十分ですよ。
You've done enough.
私たちは家具。
We are
呼び
furniture.
出してもらえるだけ
Just
で
being
おそば
someone,
にいることを
just being allowed to be by your
許
side
嬉
makes
しい
us
のです
happy.
から。
Makes us happy.
ウリュウ、エンジェ、
Angel,
本当にあり
thank
がと
you
う。
very much.
そういえば
Come to think of it,
どうして私には
why was I able to
サクタロウが呼び
summon
出せたのかし
Saktaro?
いいえ、逆
No,
に
it's the other way around.
どうしてお姉ちゃんには
Why wasn't Onechan
Saktaro
able to
が呼び出せなかったの
summon
かしら。
Saktaro? Maria Onechan had despaired, thinking that Saktaro had died, which told me that she hadn't been able to summon him like this anymore. In the past, Onechan said it was more advantageous in a summoning to have a vessel. However, a vessel is like training wheels, and it shouldn't be absolutely necessary. In other words, even if the stuffed animal lion that was Saktaro's vessel didn't exist, she should have been able to summon him. In fact, for that matter, it's a little doubtful whether summoning beings even have a concept of life and death. Moreover, Sakutaro was especially important friend to Maria Onechan. She should have been able to strive hard to summon him once more time. It certainly was sad that the original stuffed animal vessel had been torn apart, but why was he dead? And why couldn't she summon him again?
それは
That's
マリア
because
があの時
at that
僕のぬい
time,
ぐるみが
Maria
破
saw
れ
my
たのを
stuffed
見て
animal get
僕
torn,
が死んでし
and
まっ
she
たと
decided
決めてし
that
ま
I
っ
had
たから
died.
魔法の存在と
It's the same as the existence of magic.
マリア教の世界
If in Lady Maria's
サクタロウが
world
死んでしまったこ
becomes
と
a
になった
fact
な
that
ら
Saktaro
彼
died,
女の世界で
then
は
Saktaro cannot
サク
exist
タロ
in
ウは
her
存在
world.
できないウリュウ
The shock of having her beloved stuffed animal torn apart have left a wound in her heart serious enough to prevent her from ever summoning her irreplaceable close friend. In Maria Onechan's eyes, Saktaro had died. And so, even if Saktaro could exist like this to me, he could not exist before her.
僕は
I was
いつも
always
マリアと
together
一
with
緒にい
Maria.
たんだよ泣いてるマリアの
As
す
she
ぐ
cried, I
近く
was
で
there the whole time,
泣か
right
ないで
beside
って
her,
ずっと言って
telling
たん
her
だよ
not to cry.
でも
But my form, my
Maria
voice, nothing of
僕の
me
姿
would reach her.
声も
Saktaro hung his head, looking
マ
sad.
リアージュ・ソルシエルは
After that
あの
incident,
事件の後
the nature of Maria's
急に性
sorcière
格を
rapidly
変えていく
began
の
to change.
それまでの同盟
Before
は
then,
和
the
やかなも
alliance
の
was
だ
a
った
peaceful thing.
でも事件
But
後
after the incident, it
憎
grew
い誰か
full
を
of
いか
shadier
にして呪う
things,
かという
focusing
物
on
騒な
how
物
to
語
curse people you
お姉
hate.
ちゃんの日記は
Onechan's diary began to show a clear change. A diary is a mirror that reflects one's heart as it is. It probably showed me the personality called Maria die and be reborn as the evil witch personality Maria, tutto maiuscolo. As she filled the diary with hatred and sadness, her heart surely was not fulfilled. Because she wasn't fulfilled, she had no choice but to fill it with hatred and sadness. And while still unfulfilled, she met me with death. Non so perché mi ha colpito così tanto ripensarci che effettivamente Maria è morta a quell'età. I wonder if her unfulfilled soul has a hole open in its chest from sadness even now, and continually wanders, tears dripping down, calling Saktaro's name.
あなたがお
You
姉ちゃんには
are
必要な
needed
の
by
よ
Onechan.
ウリュウ
どうしたらあなたを
Why can I
Maria
do?
Onechan
What
の
can
世
I
界
do
で
to revive
蘇
you
ら
in
せられ
Maria
る
Onechan's world?
その方法が分
If
か
I
れば
can learn how to do that,
私はお
I'll
姉
be
ちゃん
able
を
to
救うこ
save
とができる
Onechan.
それが
That
私に
is the
課せられ
method of
た
atonement
贖罪
I'm
の方
tasked
法なの
with.
よどうすればサ
What
クタロウ
can
を
be
蘇
done
る
to
の
revive you?
マリアにとって
My
僕
method had
の
a
より
very
しろは
important
特に重要
meaning
な
to
意味を
Maria,
持ってた
よりしろ
the
つ
vessel.
まりライオ
So
ンの
if
ぬ
I
いぐる
could
みを
revive
蘇
this
らせる
lion
ことがで
stuffed
きれば
animal,
でも
but
僕のぬいぐるみは
Mama Rosa
ローザ
made
ママの
my
手作
stuffed
りだ
animal herself, so
ローザ
only
ママにしか
Mama
作れ
Rosa
ない
can make it. Even inside the diary, Maria Onechan has asked this of Beatrice and had been refused for the same reason. The magical significance of a stuffed animal being unique and handmade is very large. Then, if we could make the same thing once more. But Aunt Rosa is already gone from this world. We can never make the same thing again.
同じぬいぐるみをもう一つ
Was
作っ
there
た
ever
とか
another identical
そういう
stuffed
ことはない。
animal made or anything like that?
彼は
He is a stuffed animal made for Lady Maria's birthday present and is the only one in the world. A handmade and unique vessel. That's why it conceals a great magical power. And if lost, will never be obtained again. Will not revive. Maria Onechan knew that, so when she saw that stuffed animal unique in the world be torn apart, she despaired. Because it was a stuffed animal unique in the world and it permitted her no compromises such as simply buying another, she despaired from the bottom of her heart. But Saktaro is right here. Even without a vessel, he's here. I accept that, and so he firmly exists in my world. Even if a Maria Onechan doesn't accept him, the fact cannot be denied. Right? Logically, that's true, but I think using the same logic to make Lady Maria's accept him would be difficult. Maria, not dead. Right here. I'm sure that on Rokkenjima, I'll be able to be reunited with Maria Onechan. And no matter what, I'm going to revive you inside Onechan and let you be reunited too. Can you do that? It will probably be hard, but just like how after being invited into the Witches' Alliance I rejected it without understanding what it meant, she might also reject your existence. But I've got to do it. That's the only way I can atone for my sins. What is waiting on Rokkenjima? And what will happen? What will I be able to achieve? Although maybe nothing will happen at all, that island, which was the beginning of everything, will be the final destination of this journey. And as your master, I will bring all of you witches' furniture with me. And I must return to the Witches' Island, to Rokkenjima. Even though the rays of the sun have been so strong, at some point clouds have started to hang over us. The spray hitting my neck might not be coming from the crashing waves.
Enji-san,
it looks like a light shower is coming. Shouldn't you be going down? Amakusa called out to me with an expression of surprise that I was still there. When I looked up, I saw the island silhouette had gotten much larger. We might reach land very soon. I remember that the weather report had mentioned scattered rain. The sky wasn't dark enough for rain clouds. It'll probably be just for a short time. Even if the rain was light enough not to bother, having rain start to fall as we approached the island felt like some kind of fate. It was probably raining on October 4th, 1986 as well. I was approaching the Rokkenjima of that day, and not just in distance. I went back down with Amakusa. Amakusa was carrying what looked like quite large and heavy golf bag. It was something Amakusa had bought back from God knows where after we split up for a day. I wasn't going to inquire on as to its contents, but it's hard to imagine that they're anything peaceful. I'm deliberately not going to ask what's inside, but it looks heavy. Why is that these are always so heavy? A French instructor taught me something interesting about that once. He said that they should be heavy. After all, a human life is heavier than the earth. So these things should be even heavier. It'd be nice if you don't have a chance to use them. That would be nice. Amakusa set the golf bag-like luggage down heavily beside him. Minchia, c'è un Barrett calibro 50 dentro il borso da golf. Oh! The two propeller aircraft touched down on the runway. With the weather in these conditions, it could not have been a pleasant flight. Everything after this flight had been suspended due to the weather. Ma che è cosa? Sì, immaginavo. Cutting through the drizzle as she traversed the runway, 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝙳 𝙶𝙼𝚃𝙷 entered the lobby with the 2 black suits as guards. The 4 black suits who had been waiting inside the lobby stood up and respectfully lowered their heads. 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳 Propeller planes do shake awfully, don't they? I never want to fly in one again. We have a car prepared. Please, this way. They went into 2 luxury cars that have been rented. And they should be heading for 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳, a deserted island. How truly convenient. You have prepared the tools, I hope? Yes, ma'am. The black suit in the passenger seat lifted a heavy bag that had been by his feet onto his lap, opened the zipper wide and showed 𝙻𝚾 the contents. Inside were several blocky objects wrapped tightly in silver aluminum foil. He peeled one open to show her. One picked a black blunt automatic pistol. Sì, the first day, October 4th, 1986. Finalmente, perché pensavo che vi avevo promesso che sarebbe iniziato il gioco, ma dopo 2 ore non è ancora iniziato. Ora inizia, finalmente. Uff, mi ero dimenticato che c'era questa parte di ENG. Mi sembrava che fosse momento triste con Maria e dopo subito iniziava il gioco. Invece abbiamo avuto momento triste, momento riflessione e filosofico di ENG. Incredibile. E adesso inizia il gioco. Yes, abbiamo 50 minuti, ma dovremmo riuscire a leggere qualcosa almeno. It was already approaching 10 at night. The typhoon had already engulfed 𝙁𝚾𝚁𝚳. Even the rose garden that had looked so beautiful during the day now was being beaten down upon the fierce winds and resisting with all its might, undulating and trying to keep the flowers from blowing away. Heading for the guest house through the rose gardens led by Shannon were Butler, who was holding up an umbrella, Jessica, and Maria, who was sleeping on stavo per dirlo come dice Eva, Georgie, who was sleeping on Joe's shoulder. It's just to the guest house. They could make it there on our own. Shannon-chan, it's okay, go back and rest. Oh no! Accompanying you is also my duty. The family conference is going on inside, and my mom and Genji-san are on edge. That's the thing. If we're too considerate to her, they'll get the wrong idea and think she's slacking off. That's right. Just graciously accepting her offer will actually cause her less trouble. Thanks, Shannon. Not at all. Certainly, as Milady says, it is very tense inside the mansion today. Coming with all of you has allowed me to a breath of fresh air and taking some of the stress off of me. The family conference, huh? Ti giuro, quando qualcuno ripete... Aspetta, un attimo, Butler. Quando qualcuno ripete qualcosa che qualcuno ha appena detto, e soprattutto se finisce con ha, io penso solo a Snake. The family conference, huh? Vabbè. The family conference, huh? They went to all the trouble of chasing us kids out, so they're probably having a pretty damn nasty discussion. Probably. I'm sure there's nothing we can do to help out. Just making sure to stay out of their way is the best way for us to be useful, I think. You can bet your ass they're not going on about money. No, they're going... Mamma mia. You can bet your ass they're just going on about money again. They act like they're so rich most of the time, but when it comes down to handing out cash, they start hemming and hawing. Why can't they just be generous and split it evenly between everyone? That'd be awesome. It'd be great if I got a share too. Suppose I've got some as well. I split it with Shannon right away. Thank you very much. That's alright, but I appreciate the offer. You aren't materialistic at all, are you, Shannon? Normally, girls of your age have plenty of things they want to buy. Yes, but none of the things I want can be bought with money. Ooh, so ungreedy. So ungreedy. If you lined up all the things I wanted, all the gold in the world wouldn't be enough. Nothing you can buy, she said. I wonder what these things that can't be bought that Shannon wants are. Any idea, George Nissan? Well, I wonder. Maybe, I guess only Shannon-chan would know. I don't know either. George and Shannon looked down with their faces red. Butler had also heard the details, and he knew what Jessica was teasing them about. George Aniki is someone even I can respect. I think you've met a really great person, Shannon-chan. Yeah, I can rest easy knowing Shannon is in good hands. Stop teasing. It's a serious issue for us. More importantly, what about you, Jessica-chan? Have you been able to get a little closer to Kanon-kun? Ti pareva. So you and Kanon-kun are like that. Shannon being a wonderful cinnamon bun come si dice? Shannon momento Jessica cinnamon bun carinissima che adesso comincerà a dire That's dirty, George Nissan. Twisting the conversation around like that is just mean. Va bene, dai. Solito discorso tra i ragazzi comunque. As they had an animated discussion with ups and downs, the four kids headed for the guest house. The annual family conference was extremely important to the Ushiromiya family, and this year in particular seemed like it was going to be especially so. Apparently, the family head, Kinzo, was personally going to be making a very serious announcement, and everyone other than the adults had been strictly ordered to leave the mansion. Butler hadn't attended the family conference in 6 years, so she hadn't really noticed. But according to Jessica, there seemed to be a very tense atmosphere tonight, completely different from a normal year. Common sense made it clear that Kinzo, whose remaining life was short, was going to make some big announcement about the succession of the head and the distribution of his fortune. Questo è Butler giocatore, perché quando viene fuori sta roba, vabbè, lo sapete però, volevo sottolinearlo. I'm surprised to think that grandfather is actually going to make an appearance. So this is the witch's counterattack. I wanted to leave the Joker called Kinzo face down a little longer, but it's probably about time to turn it over. Trump cards exist to be used. Damn! So my theory that grandfather was dead since the beginning and a mysterious 18th person had snuck in his place is now suddenly torn apart. I had foreseen that you would begin to doubt Kinzo eventually. Come on. Your reasoning is back to square one once again, you know? With this, your theory that Kinzo was dead at the very beginning and I was hiding as the 18th person goes poof. God damn it. But I will not lose heart. That's only one theory gone. I'll attack you like a storm, like a tornado. I wouldn't want it any other way. Even the first twilight has yet to begin. It's far too early to give up. That's right. And it's not like it was denied with the red truth. At this point in time, Butler Stirling hasn't been defeated. It's too early to say you've won. You're right. It is still too early for me to simply swallow her story. Grandfather is supposed to be finally appearing, but there's also a chance that there'll be a lot of talk about how his health has gotten worse and he won't appear after all. Uncle Kraus might simply be trying desperately to hide the fact that grandfather really is dead until the last second. I see. You could also think of it that way. Do as you please. It will be resolved soon. Very soon. Sono capace di ridere come Beatrice. All of the relatives and Nanjo could be seen in the dining hall. Nanjo sat alone, quietly watching the wind and rain outside. Kraus was sitting in the seat of his own rank, and Natsui standing motionlessly at his side. All of the other siblings and their partners were gathered at the opposite end of the long table, whispering to each other. Is that true? Yes. Maria said that the person who gave her the umbrella was father. Son of a gun. That means that the foundation of our strategy has collapsed. Not just our strategy. Since father is healthy and has said that we will make an announcement himself, our trivial bargaining with Nissan was completely pointless. Yeah. That old bastard. Why couldn't he have just shown himself right away instead of dragging it out? Thanks to that, we've just been quarreling with Anakin uselessly. Maybe that's what he wanted to test. Maybe it's not my place to say it since we aren't related by blood, but your father is very intelligent, you realize? Our exchange during the day was probably being listened in by one of the servants and reported to father. The fact that we are clamoring after father's inheritance is now clear as day to him. Just incredible. Eva held her head, uncharacteristically dejected. Yeah, if, as Kiri had said, this had been Kinzo's design from the beginning, a huge setup spread over more than a year in a bid to find the siblings' true natures, then they had fallen for it completely. I still don't know for sure that that he reached father's ears. No, he definitely has. And everyone but Nissan claimed that he was dead, and none of us believed in his good health. Oh, you're done for. You'll make an announcement. You'll say that Nissan will become the successor, and that we aren't even qualified to wear the one-winged eagle. Oh. Nissan, don't give up. Rosa-san, I wonder whether Maria-chan really did receive the umbrella from father. Huh? What do you mean? Maria-chan might have met father, but we haven't. Maria-chan only claims to have met him. What? Are you saying that Maria's telling a lie? Calm down, Rosa. We aren't calling Maria-chan a liar. But she's the kind of kid who accepts what people tell her, right? For example, if Genji-san came to her and said something like, I was told by your grandfather to hand you this, to you, Maria-sama. Then if Maria-chan hadn't met Dad, she still might say that she got the umbrella from him, right? That's right. That could be a trick. But what Maria-chan said was this, right? Grandfather came and handed me an umbrella. Yes, it was. She was clear that she received the umbrella directly from her grandfather. Directly, huh? Well, that's it. Well, that's that then. Whoever said that thinking of the incompetent can Whoever said that the thinking of the incompetent can pass for sleeping was absolutely right. If you think about it a bit, all this about the umbrella is irrelevant. Why? Maria-chan could have been bribed by Nissan to lie and said something that made it seem like father was in good health, couldn't she? There is no evidence that fathers actually handed the umbrella to her. No matter who Maria-chan received the umbrella from, or even if she never was given an umbrella in the first place, father will appeal very soon. With father in front of us, the question of the umbrella will be completely irrelevant. In other words, the only time that the umbrella question comes into play is the other case. What do you mean, the other case? Ah, I got it. This is probably what Kirie-san's saying. We're being told that father is coming here any moment, but there's still a chance of some excuse why he won't turn up in the end, right? I see. That's true. Maybe Nissan just said father was going to appear off the top of his head in a desperate bid to buy time against our investigation. Father really has passed away already, and Nissan is lying and saying he's in good health. In short, if father appears, then no schemes will be effective. There's no need to even think about it. We are fish on the chopping board. We have no choice but to leave fate to the heavens and face direct negotiations with father. No choice but to beg for money in the expectation that we'll need to prostrate, and in the expectation that we'll need to prostrate ourselves and be subjected to his fists. But on the other hand, if father doesn't appear, then our original strategy isn't hampered in the least. I see. Then no matter which way it goes, there's absolutely no need to get flustered now. I see. That's it. If father shows up, it simply means that the family conference will be carried out as normal. If he doesn't, we just have to continue to press Kraus-Nielsen. Sono solo io o Kiri mi sembra molto più talkative questo episodio rispetto agli altri? Cioè mi sembra che sta prendendo sempre, cioè non che negli altri episodi non abbia parlato, ma sta prendendo un ruolo centrale in quasi tutte quante le discussioni tra gli adulti, non vorrei dire. He might start off saying father's mood has suddenly gotten worse, and we gotta make absolutely sure not to let Kraus-san talk his way out of this. Seems what we should really be trying to figure out is what scheme Nissan is going to try and use to buy himself some time. I know better than anyone just how far he'll go to refuse to admit defeat. If father is well, then we prostrate ourselves and beg for money. If it's Kraus-Nissan's farce, we continue our ugly sibling fight. Seems like this year's family conference is going to be as wonderful as ever. Yeah. The thinking of the incompetent can pass for sleeping then. It's almost 10. Should we press Anike? Rudolf and the rest looked at Kraus. Firmly seated, he looked like he was waiting Shinzo's arrival with an air of composure. They couldn't tell whether that was really composure or whether he was scheming about how to tie together his lie. Dear, calm yourself. Making a fuss here won't achieve anything. Let's leave it to Genji-san. It's almost 10 o'clock, isn't it? That was the time that had been set for tonight's family conference to open. In addition, it was also the time that the Ushiramiya family had needed to appear. Right then, they heard a sound of footsteps approaching from the hall. There were multiple sets. Natsui jerked her head up with a start. But there came the sound of a knock, and her expression filled with disappointment. Because Shinzo wouldn't have probably knocked. Please excuse us. We have finished up closing the mansion for the night. It was Goda and Kumasawa. Unlike the physical fit Goda, it's rare for Kumasawa with her whole body to still be tasked with work this late. Of course, Kraus also seemed to know that. Good work. My apologies for making you work at such a time, Kumasawa-san. Oh, not at all. I may not look it, but staying up late is still one of my specialties. Could we not at least relieve Kumasawa of her duty of being an observer? Really, it really will be difficult on her body, I imagine. The order was to gather all of the servants as well. Cannot disobey. Tonight's family's conference was clearly different from a normal one. On a normal year, no one was able to attend the family conference except relatives. It would have been inconceivable for any servants to be present. But this year was different. They had been told to have all of the servants in attendance for the family conference. Of course, they were not be allowed to speak. They were there as observers. Just what in the world was going to happen that needed 5 servants to observe? Even Kraus didn't know. Believe it or not, I'm good at pulling all-nighters. If you stuff yourself with mackerel too, Kraus-sama, you'll be able to keep going all night as well. I see. So there's energy in you yet. No doubt you'll still be working with such energy when you're past 100. Madame, forgive my presumption, but I have prepared a light snack. It is ready to be served at any time. Just give the word. Thank you. You really are considerate. Please ask our guests whether they would care for some more coffee. Certainly. After bowing slightly, Goda took the pot towards the relatives gathered at the other end of the table. As he did, more footsteps approached from the hallway. A single set. They were light. Even before they knocked, they could imagine who it was. Excuse me. I have taken the children to the guest house. Good work. Tonight is a special event. Make sure you stay alert. Yes, certainly, madame. Genji, accompanied by Kanon, had gone to meet Kinzo. There was still no sign of their return. The hands of the clocks the hands of the clock were creeping past 10. Once sure of that, Eva spoke to Kraus. Nisan, it's time. Is the family conference still not going to start? The arrival of the guest of honor have been delayed. Wait a short while. How long? Sorry, but I'm setting a time limit on this. I won't have you saying father hasn't quite shown up yet, over and over until dawn. How can I make a promise about the time father will show up? Why are you such in a rush? Why not drink some coffee and calm yourself down for now? Aniki, we are gathered here for a family conference, not a farce. We'll wait 30 more minutes. But if that gets us nothing, we're barging into the study. But barging into... that would be an action quite lacking in respect for the head. It would, wouldn't it? Sorry about that. We'll sit tightly for 30 more minutes. I look forward to seeing whether you can keep that same smile 30 minutes from now. You honestly believe that father is dead? I have no desire to discuss that at this point. We just have to wait until father comes here. There's absolutely no need for me to argue with you down, Nih-san. The Ushiromiya headship will be passed on to the proper person in a proper manner. No matter what you may scheme, you cannot go against this. Of course, the same goes for me. What are you on about? You've been bragging all these years about being the successor to the head yourself. Allow me to turn your words right back. Allow me to turn your words straight back onto you. I have no desire to discuss that at this point. Father merely has to come here and proclaim it with his own mouth. It is completely unnecessary for me to argue down, right? Kraus casually turned Eva's words back at her. Of course, that poured fuel on Eva's anger, but it didn't ignite. Because in that instant, the sound of a very loud knock rang out. Both Genji and Kanon were usually very reserved when they knocked. They wouldn't hit the door with such a violent strength. It was like a judge's gavel slamming down in a call to order. So everyone fell quiet. The door opened slightly, and Genji showed himself. Then he spoke with a solemn tone different from his usual one. It wasn't the tone he used when carrying out his duties. It was the tone he used when speaking for Kinzo himself. So, just by hearing Genji speaking like that, the siblings were struck with a sudden tension. Take your seats, everyone. At those words, mamma mia. At those words, the dining hall fell into complete silence, and everyone rushed back to their designated seats. They were like students who have been making a lot of noise just before homeroom hurriedly returned to their seats when the teacher came back. It might even have felt humorous, but there was no way anyone would joke about it. Everyone sat in order, and Shannon, Goda, Kumasawa stood up straight in a row by the wall. The head of the glorious Ushiromiya family and Lord of Rokkenjima, the island that sparkles gold. Lord Ushiromiya Kinzo is present. Of the double doors into the dining hall, Genji opened the right door from the inside, and Kanon opened the left door from the outside. And, welcomed by the deepest of bows from both servants, his cape fluttering majestically, Kinzo appeared. Kinzo's gait had not a dignified weight. Ma cos'è gait? Non ne ho idea. Kinzo's gait had a dignified weight to it, and it was very hard to believe that he had been diagnosed as having not much time left to live. Genji pulled back Kinzo's seat and motioned for him to sit. But Kinzo remained standing, signaling with his chin for Genji to move back. Devo preparare. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Rokkenjima. Why the frightened face, Eva? No way I would be frightened. I'm just relieved to find you in excellent spirits, father. Angaite l'andatore, grazie. Eva, you are as interesting as ever, aren't you? You might try honestly saying how frustrated you are at losing your bet with Kraus. Can't say it, can you? Eva realized that their conversation during the day had been indeed an open book to Kinzo, and she turned red as she hung her head. Well then, my sons, daughters, and their companions. Tonight, I shall make an important announcement regarding those things that you all have your heart set upon. My fortune and the succession of the headship. But first, I think I will mention how incredibly disappointed I am. I refer to the fact that, to this very day, not a single one of you have been able to solve the riddle of the epitaph. Even though Kinzo said he was disappointed, a condescending smile, as though there was no way the likes of them could have solved it, rose to his face as he cast an eye over each and every one of them. I had been planning on handing over everything to the person who could solve it. But here we stand today. Not a single person had been capable, and not a single person having succeeded to all of that is mine. Shameful. The fact that none one amongst you have come forward with the qualification to succeed me. I find truly disappointing and shameful and pathetic. The siblings hung their heads in silence. Of course, they would have solved it if they could. They had blown their chance and none of them could deny it. But even so, it was just so hard. It was just so hard a riddle. Therefore I am proclaiming here and now that I will suspend the use of the epitaph riddle as a method of choosing my successor. In other words, time's up. This is game over. What a shame for all of you. You all had an equal and fair chance, and that has now collapsed. It truly sounded like Kinzo was making a victory proclamation. In that case, with the headship, we succeeded to my oldest son, Kraus. The answer is no. I'm sure you understand why, Kraus. I certainly did give you the title of successor, but you did nothing with it but to get drunk on it. Do you know what it means to be a successor? The successor. It means to be the one who will succeed you, father. Wrong! The successor isn't something that's guaranteed by the current head at all. Listen up, Kraus. I'll teach you this once. So unplug your ears and listen. The successor, see, is what you call someone who finds everyone else who's after the headship, thoroughly breaks their noses and makes it so that they can never disobey him again. This is not something that can be said of the headship. It can also be said of money. A rich person doesn't mean someone who has money. It means someone who crushes everyone who has more money than himself and who scrabbles together more money than anyone else. It is the same with talent. A genius is not what you call a person blessed with talent. It means a person who crushes everyone with more talent than themselves. A person who can coerce all people to call them by using their strength and charisma. You have a mistaken impression when it comes to all of these things. So you aren't the right caliber to be my successor. No, I have learned. Perhaps that was precisely Kinzo's philosophy. Though it could also be taken for a rant, it was as a result of faithfully carrying out that philosophy of his that Kinzo has raised the Ushiromiya family to such prosperous heights. It may be hard to imagine after his immersion in the occult in recent years, but it was that brutal aggressiveness that was the Ushiromiya's Kinzo's charisma and aura. Such a weak-minded person has no qualification to inherit everything of the Ushiromiya family. In that case, Eva, Rudolph, or Rosa qualified? In that case, is Eva, Rudolph, or Rosa qualified? That is also a no. You were not able to solve the riddle, and neither were you able to scheme to drag Kraus down from his throne. All the three of you could manage to do was put together a united front to extort money from Kraus. And even that scheme was thoughtless. You can't even corner Kraus all by himself. There could be nothing more shameful. You lack the avarice to steal away the position of successor by any means necessary. In order to get what you want, you should pay all sacrifices, be covetous, avaricious to the last. Fortune smiles upon the greedy. You three who lack that wild spirit are as unfit for the succession as Kraus. Eva and the rest had no words to respond with. They couldn't figure out and they couldn't figure out what it was that Kinzo was about to say. Was Kinzo actually planning to proclaim that no one would succeed the head? If so, that would work for Eva, Rosa, and Rudolph's advantage, because the only thing the siblings would ultimately need to do is coordinate everything between them after Kinzo's death and split the inheritance evenly. On the contrary, if a specific person's name was raised and proclaimed to be the one to succeed the head, that would probably be more troublesome. But would Kinzo really say something that would benefit any of the four siblings after lambasting them so much? You don't think he's going to say that because no one will succeed him, he'll donate all of his fortune to charity or something, right? Non mi sembra molto tipo da charity, Kinzo. I'm afraid it wouldn't be past father. Blood just risen to his head. For the time being, we are just going to have to hear him out. Well then, father, what thoughts do you have regarding the next head? Since I am so completely disappointed in all of you, I've lost the desire to hand it over to anyone. Therefore, the Ushiromiya family will end here. It ends with my generation. Surely you must. The Ushiramiya family was ruined long ago in that earthquake. The current Ushiramiya family is nothing more than my own short-lived vision of gold. The lives of which will end when I awaken from my slumber. This world is not but a dream, an illusion. Life is but a daydream before the awakening called death. And yes, and so it has been since the beginning. That I should lose everything when I die was Beatrice's contract and her curse. You think that will work, Beatrice? I will be the one to capture you. Tonight, that shall become a reality. For a while, Kinzo was overcome with cackling and his eyes bulged. Whether he talked about Beatrice was always eloquent and filled with obsession. Foolish sons and daughters such as yourselves were truly a daydream. It is as though you were never there from the beginning. Disappear, wake up. Fade away along the doors of my true self. You failures have not built up anything that makes you worthy to succeed me. Kinzo-san, if I may. What is it, my friend? Nanjo nervously raised his head, asking to speak. Kinzo permitted it. I understand how you feel, Kinzo, because you love your children. You expect a lot of them, and as a parent and grandpa myself, I understand the parental affection that can make you feel as though these expectations were betrayed. However, you are extraordinary, Kinzo-san, a genius. Isn't it a little too harsh to say that it's only natural for them to catch up to you? And even so, that has not stopped them from trying. Klaus-san, Eva-san, Rudolf-san, Rosa-san, all of their partners are doing their very best to catch up. And just how much money have they built up with this doing their very best? These halfwits who fail in each and every one of their enterprises and become burdened with debt and still try to sponge off me are doing their very best. Exactly how? Money is the crystallization of everything in this world. If you cannot grasp that, you cannot grasp the world. If a soul cannot keep a tight grasp on this world, it doesn't deserve to live. Disappear. Be gone from my life and reality. That argument is unreasonable. With that logic, even I would not be allowed to live. And yet, I believe the time I spent playing chess with you was worthwhile for both of us. You should know better than anyone else that there are many things in the world that money cannot buy. As the siblings motionlessly hung their heads, they cheered Nanjo on the inside of their hearts. Not one of the siblings could offer their opinion to Kinzo in a rage, but Nanjo alone was allowed to, as Kinzo's close friend. Even though Kinzo had raged so fiercely after being admonished by Nanjo, he nodded several times as though in agreement. His surprisingly docile side might have seemed cute, but there was no one who could laugh. Maybe true that your children weren't able to build up a great fortune as yourself, Even so, from my point of view, they're rich enough to make me jealous. Beside money, they also have built up a great many things that money can't buy. When it comes to that, they are no inferior to you. And what are you saying that they have built up that money cannot buy? Happiness, family. They have found wonderful partners, had children, and have built up their own happy homes. Your family is thriving thanks to them, and they have brought back grandchildren for you. Grandchildren are good. We older people can look at those young grandchildren who will live on into a new era that we will not be given a chance to see, and we can imagine endless futures for them. Isn't that the sole entertainment for old age? Remember, Kinzo-san, remember your joy when they first came back to you with grandchildren. Your children and your grandchildren will relate your great works to future generations, and they will model themselves after you. This is something that a single person cannot accomplish, no matter how much money they have. The siblings all nodded in agreement. Certainly, there had been a time when Kinzo had looked at his newly born grandchildren with happiness in his eyes, back when he still had some sanity in his heart. However, was there any human warmth still left inside Kinzo's heart? You meant to say that in exchange for the vast richness I created, instead of gaining money, I have gained my grandchildren. No, that's not what I... So in exchange for several tens of billions in wealth that I have amassed, I have gained a single grandchild from each of my children. That is wonderful. So, I have created a single life at a cost of 10 billion yen. That's how it is. Interesting. Thinking of it from the perspective of alchemy truly makes an interesting analogy, don't you agree? What valuable grandchildren! Wonderful. Isn't that right, Grams? Is your daughter worth 10 billion? Kinzo mi sta ammazzando. Kraus couldn't answer instantly. It wasn't that he didn't have confidence in his daughter, it was because he didn't have a clue what Kinzo was trying to test with this question. But when Natsui was then pressed for an answer, she responded, breaking Kraus' silence with an answer of her own interpretation. Yes, Jessica is a daughter who I wouldn't let go for even 10 billion yen. In that sense, I believe she has a value that cannot be counted with money. Oh, so you can state for certain that she is worth 10 billion? Oh. What about you, Eva? What do you say about your George? Given the way Natsui had chosen to answer, there was naturally no doubt to what Eva's answer would be. Even though Eva should have known better than to respond to this kind of provocative question, she did so as well. Oh yes, father. George is worth 10 billion. No, even more than that. And that's not in the abstract sense of the things money can't buy. George will certainly build up a fortune equal to his worth. I'm sure he will become a grandson worthy of carrying on your great works. Eva sent a glance at Hideyoshi and Natsui that said, like a fiddle. After hearing Eva's answer, Natsui was about to add more praise for her daughter, but stopped at a glare from Kraus. I see. Then what about you, Rudolph? What about your butler? Compared to George-kun, there's nothing about Butler I can brag about. If he was kidnapped and we were threatened with a ransom of 10 billion, I feel like sticking a bow onto the guy and letting them have him. Ah no, aspetta, I feel like sticking a bow, si dice, no, un fiocchetto on the guy and letting them have it. Porca puttana, Rudolph. On top of that idiot, he's an idiot and reckless. He dreams way too big and talks about things he hadn't got a snowball hope in hell of doing. I guess in that respect he's a superior idiot worth the equivalent of 10 billion normal idiots. But you look at that average person who hasn't even got the balls to be an idiot, and I bet that guy is gonna try things that a 10 billion of them couldn't do put together. Well, I'm pretty sure he'll fall flat on his face. The world isn't easy. But at the very least, there's no doubt in my mind that watching over his life will be more entertaining than looking at 10 billion average people. Eva clicked her tongue at the clever style of speech that would probably match Kinzo's taste. Andrea, addio. Apparently Rudolph had been after this himself. He grinned back at her. What of Maria? Maria is my darling only daughter. Her value cannot be measured with money. That is all. I see. Dreams and future, miracles and possibility are the source of my magical power. No magical power without hope. I cannot expect anything more from you people who have proven yourself to be average, but... Yes, my grandchildren do have future possibilities, and it is possible that they may be worth hoping for a magical miracle from. If you say that this makes them worth more than 10 billion, I could understand that. When Kinzo got in a rage, he wouldn't let anyone talk back, but even so, while yelling by himself, he would sometimes convince himself of something all of his own accord and change his own opinion. Minchia, sanità mentale 100, Kinzo. That's what this felt like to the siblings. Apparently, even though Kinzo had become absolutely fed up with these shuddy children and had cast them away as being unfit for the inheritance of his title or his fortune, he wasn't so sure about his grandchildren. At this rate, he might soon say that the inheritance would go to his grandchildren instead of the siblings. As the siblings sat in fear of what their fickle and short-tempered father would suddenly think of next, they carefully watched his every move. Let me change my thinking a little. I have absolutely no desire to see you people inherit all that is mine. However, it would be quite interesting to question the grandchildren to see whether one of them is qualified. I've been thinking of them as kids who never grow up, but there is a chance that they will show me a glimmer of unpolished brilliance that will surprise me. And testing them for that would be... yes. That would be hard to pass over as a final diversion from my last remaining days. Well then, what shall I do? I can recommend George with confidence as a fitting successor for you, father. Yeah, Nanjo MVP. Enja claimed that right away. Ah, comunque scusa Mr. Pomitz che non ti ho salutato prima, ero preso da fare Kind. Nathri looked like she was about to follow along, but Kraus gave her a look telling her to restrain herself. Enja? Ho detto Enja? Nanjo volevo dire, ho detto Enja, avevo problemi, scusatemi. But Kraus gave her a look telling her to restrain herself, and she swallowed her words. Now, boy. Then, let us do this. I will individually question the grandchildren to see whether they are qualified to inherit the Ushiromiya headship and all of his wealth. Ha detto Enja anziché Eva. My bad. Okay. Sempre il solito problema. Father. However, I do not mean by this that one of you will receive the headship indirectly. I have already lost hope in every one of you. I have nothing to give you now. Nothing. The ones I will question are the grandchildren, and the ones who might succeed me are the grandchildren. Make absolutely sure that you do not mistake this. Are we clear? I will follow your decision, father. Same here. I'll go along with whatever you determine. What about you, Aniki? Of course! I believe that you will make a wise judgment, father. I will also abide by your decision. I shall think of how I will test the grandchildren, and that no longer has anything to do with any of you, because you no longer have anything to do with the succession of the head. So, why don't I use this opportunity to talk about something else that does have something to do with you? Oh, something else. That is the true reason for tonight's final Ushiromiya family conference. What I demand from you is neither a discussion nor your opinions. I demand cooperation for my ritual. Ritual? Quiet. Father is talking now. Rudolph and the rest automatically knitted their brows and at the occult-like word ritual. Was he talking about starting a strange ritual involving Beatrice's resurrection again? He was demanding that they help? What in the world was he planning to start? In the past, he had carried out many eccentricities that he called by the same name, such as lighting a strange incense and filling the whole mansion with the stench. To the siblings, a ritual was nothing more than one of the aged king's obnoxious hobbies. Father, what do you mean by... We'll assist you in any way that we can. Right, Rosa? Yes. But what in the world is it? The ritual is as I inscribed it in the epitaph. It is a ritual to revive Beatrice and open the door to the Golden Land. The witch who escaped her cage of flesh and sneeringly slipped through my fingers, I will finally be able to capture and subjugate with my greatest hidden art. Only I must sacrifice 13 people for that purpose. It is not easy to gather 13 sacrifices. But tonight is the family come. Look how many have gathered over Orokenjima. There could be no day on which to carry out this ritual. There could be no other day. Taken literally, it could have only sounded as though he was telling them to die as sacrifices for his disturbing ritual. Ridiculous. Was this some kind of metaphor? But they didn't have a clue what he was trying to tell them through this analogy. The siblings whispered together, wondering what Kinzo was saying. What's that going on about? Is this his usual bad sickness? Probably. Keep quiet for now and hear him out. Sorry, father. I don't understand how you mean that. What is it you don't understand? I am speaking extremely simply. I have said that I shall choose 13 people from among the humans on this island and offer them as sacrifices for my ritual to revive Beatrice. Even worthless people like you can be very useful as sacrifices for my ritual. Hear this! This is not a joke nor anything of the sort. This is my final bet, my final ritual, the last I will desire in my life. There are now more than 13 humans on this island. In short, that's a head count which can easily satisfy this massive number of sacrifices. Become the sacrifices for my ritual. Kinzo-san, you were possibly serious about what you said back then. Wasn't a joke? Unusually for Nanjo, his face changed color and he stood up and shouted. It seemed this wasn't the first time Nanjo had heard about this dark talk about 13 sacrifices. Sorry, my friend. That was not a joke nor anything of the sort. It is what I bet my life on. Final ritual, final game that I will challenge. Yes, this is a game. If gaining my fortune and leaving this island is your goal, then there are only two ways to achieve it. Successfully survive being chosen as one of the 13 sacrifices and stop the ritual by finally solving the riddle of the epitaph. Or kill me and stop the ritual in that matter. Those are the only two ways. But now it was no longer whispering amongst those gathered there, but uneasy commotion. Even the siblings had noticed that Kinzo was beginning to act abnormally. Father, you a little tired. Kenji-san, has father been drinking at all? No, the master is quite lucid. Sorry, Dad, but I don't have a clue what you've started going on about. You're free to start up whatever weird ritual you want to revive the witch you love. That's your hobby, after all. But dragging me into all of that and making me into sacrifice, that's just not gonna happen. Rudolph, who asked you to chip in? What are you talking about, Aniki? You think I'm gonna just sit here nodding my head at this? Are you nuts? Was the ritual Kinzo was mentioning literally the frightening thing it seems to be? Or was it some kind of test to choose his successor? It seems that Rudolph had taken it at its very disturbing face value, but Eva apparently still believed that it was something like a trial of an examination to find the proper next step. But Kinzo's response to this was clear. Well, that is all I have to say. No objections or viewpoints are necessary. I was simply awaking from my dream in which I have 4 failures for children. To all of you, what will occur now, before your very eyes, will no doubt seem like a dream, an illusion, an unearthly world that defies understanding. But that itself is my reality. Now, I will finally awaken from the fleeting and useless dream that all of you are. The game has already begun. With this many of you here, I hardly know whose life I should take first. Goodbye, my bungling sons and daughters. And for the final and only time in your lives, be of use to me for my ritual. Arise, Pendragon's memorial troops. As Kinzo raised his arms high like an opera singer and yelled those words as thrown towards a packed audience, the air shattered like glass and the figures of 3 people who hadn't been invited to this island appeared regardless. Siesta 45, right here. Siesta 410, right here. Siesta 00, right here, sir. 3 girls with bizarre forms suddenly appeared before Kinzo. Where from? When? Who? Who are they? The humans were thrown off balance and their minds went blank. Big boss. The humans... okay. And because they waste their times with such thoughts, they had lost their chance to survive. I grant you permission to shoot 6 people to death. You have free choice of targets. Begin attacking. Unrestricted firing understood, sir. Thank you for the good targets. All units, commence unrestricted firing. This one is... As 410 scratched the air with her fingers, a golden bow appeared in an empty space, and its strings were pulled back. The golden arrow that had been ready there was fired off without any hesitation, flew right around the room, leaving haphazard gold trails everywhere. And from among those sitting at the table on the family conference, it chose Natsui and pulverized the left half of her face. Flesh and deep red blood splattered all around, leaving a mass amount of deep red splatter marks on their relatives' faces and the pure white tablecloth. There was silence. Despite the massive numbers of deep red blotches left on the tablecloth, even still, no one could understand why Natsui's head was half smashed, nor why she was hanging her head as though she had dozed off in her chair. And they watched these events in silence. Those sitting on the right-hand side of Natsui were silent for a relatively long time. But those sitting on her left were not, because the people sitting on that side had been shown how the head had been smashed open like a watermelon or a pomegranate, and could even see inside her. That one, Natsue, a luckless woman to the end. Next! 00, firing. In the same way, 00 scratched the empty air to ready her bow and fired. Just like the golden arrow 410 had released, it flew around and around at high speeds, drawing a convoluted trail after which, As he looked at Natsu shocked, it smashed half of Rudolph's head in the same way, killing him instantly. This time everyone did not stop thinking altogether. They realized that a terrible murder had been carried out right in front of them according to Kinzo's words, and they understood that Kinzo would probably kill again. Shrill screams burst out. Even now they still don't know what to do. They could only keep screaming and flapping their wide open mouths like goldfish. Father, what do you think you're doing? You don't! Hurry up and run! As Eva asked Kinzo that in total shock, Hideyoshi, who had come to his senses, had risen from his chair faster than anyone else and pulled their arm from behind. However, merciless fate chose for the third sacrifice. Merciless fate's choice for the third sacrifice was Hideyoshi. Just like the two before him, half of Hideyoshi's head was neatly smashed, and the right side of his head, which happened to be facing the direction at the time, was blown away, chunk of his contents thrown everywhere like a watermelon or a pomegranate. Still holding Eva, Hideyoshi toppled backwards and fell down. Still held by her beloved husband, Eva fell backwards with him. Eva screamed, and who could blame her? The face she had been looking for had been half lost, and the crushed skull and squelched exposed bane and the crushed jaw were all bare. 45, impact, on target. Spectacular. Fire again. 3 remain. Father! What are you doing? Kraus stood up forcefully and was about to rush Kinzo when 00 blocked him. Despite her slender-looking body, she held back Kraus' body with just the palm of her right hand. She tried to resist and attack Kinzo. He still tried to resist and attack Kinzo, so 00 lifted Kraus up by the collar and twisted his Adam apple with her thumb. It seemed to be very painful, and Kraus was overcome with agony. Everyone, run! Get the police! Emergency services! Quickly! Everyone, let's escape! Escape! Nanjo's sharp words finally broke the spell that had been holding them down to their chairs. As God and Kumasawa made a mad scramble to escape from the dining hall, 410 teleported to that spot, blocking the way. You're sure as slow, Do you think I let you escape, Goda-san, duck! At the sound of Kirio's sharp voice, Goda, in a state of complete confusion, ducked. Then a burst of air rushed above his head. Kirio had taken a big swing with a chair to mow 410 down. But 410, still wearing a contentious expression, easily caught the widely swung chair with one hand. You're a scary woman, You really wanna follow your husband that bad? From the sleeves of the arm that had been used to catch the chair, something like a shining gold snake appeared, coiled around the chair, and with a huge crunch burst it into splinters. It was a fearsome power, far stronger than any vice. When Kirio realized that the being in front of her, which looked like the girl, was actually a being that surpassed human knowledge and which a human could not even begin to oppose, her head was filled with a great alarm bell that welled up from inside her. Even with a scene like this before their eyes, Genji, Shannon, and Kanon, the servants permitted to wear the one-winged eagle, continued to stand calmly and at attention by the wall, making them look very bizarre and eerie. For an instant, Kiria thought that the source of the calmness was that they were with the enemy and had been guaranteed that they wouldn't be killed. But no sooner had she thought that the side of Genji's face was blown away before her eyes. Genji-san. 45, impact on target. Oh, Genji. Oh, that is now that is unfortunate. Rest in peace, my friend. Your death will not be wasted. You will become one of the 13 keys essential for the resurrection of my beloved wings. The half of Genji's expression that remained was as indifferent as ever. He tilted, fell in a heap, and sent a blood-red splatter across the floor.
Genji-sama.
Nothing more than the witch's pieces. Nothing more, nothing more. From the meek and frustrated, no, resigned expression of Shannon and Kanon's faces, who couldn't feel any naive expectation that they would be saved. That's right. Kinzo, in the truest sense, carrying out these murders at random. In the truest sense, he was killing like it was a game to see who would be saved and who would be killed. Well, who we go for next, yeah? 410 looked at Kiria for a second, and in that second Kiria prepared for her own death. A one she had ready at golden bow in midair, 410 looked at someone else over Kiria's shoulder. So, as shameless as it was, Kiria sensed that she had been saved. Again, an ugly sound of something cracking and exploding ran through the room. Who was it this time? And Kiria turned in the direction of the sound. She saw Eva collapse on her husband's chest, gushing blood like a fountain. Of course, now her face was half smashed like her husband's. 410 had mercilessly targeted Eva as she clung to her husband's body, sobbing. Let go of Nisan. Let go of Nisan. Just stop it, father. Just stop this brutality. Rosa's protestations weren't reaching Kinzo as he continued to laugh loudly in the blood-splattered dining hall. And nor was she able to lessen Crown's pain as 00 lifted him by his collar. So Rosa had no choice but to use force. She raised one of the chairs beside her over her head and gave a warning. Father, order her to let go of Nisan. Just make them stop this. Just make them stop all of this. But I think not. If that is what you desire, then prevent it by using your own power. Cut a path open for your own fate with your own hands. You have always hid behind the backs of others in fear. Show me the final bit of self-mastery that dwells within you. Ecco, è entrata in modalità strega cattiva. The chair that Rosa had lifted up swung down at father who had reigned as a symbol of terror for her entire life. It was the greatest and final act of bravery and self-mastery in Rosa's life. Kinzo might have been right. If she had grasped that courage much sooner, her life might have been more free and unrestrained by anyone else. Then a loud bursting sound. The sound of Rosa's chair fiercely hitting Kinzo. It was not. Still lifting up the chair, she neatly lost half of her head and fell with a thud. While still holding Kraus up with one hand, 𝚶𝚂𝚗𝚗𝚗 has struck her other hand out towards Rosa. A golden snake released from that arm and constricted Rosa in a helix and chewed a hole right through her head. Defensive firing. I apologize for the discourtesy as of a point-blank shot, sir. It matters not. So this makes 6. Yes, Lord Goldsmith, sir. This makes 6. After declaring this with indifference, 00 let go of Kraus, who she had been lifting up this whole time. So, the first sacrifice of the first twilight were Eva, Rudolph, Rosa, Natsu, Hideyoshi, and Genji. It was a massacre that happened in an instant. The interior of the dining hall was dirtied with blood splatter, and the 6 unlucky victims lay with their heads brutally exposed. Fittingly, it was Kinzo's abnormal laugh alone that echoed in that abnormal space. Sto aspettando che succeda una cosa e poi ci salutiamo. The curtain has finally risen. The beginning of the ritual to revive Beatrice. The lucky ones who managed to escape the first twilight. Allow me to introduce you to my friends. Eccolo. Arise, my friend. Ronove. When Kinzo called Ronove's name, the demon butler appeared out of thin air, bowing deeply and respectfully. It's a pleasure to meet you all, and to those of you whom this is a long overdue reunion, good day. It seems that we once again have a spectacular mess on our hands. Oh, I cannot. This level of stimulus is necessary to wake me from my days of waking dreams. Allow me to introduce you, my friend, my reliable butler and one of the 72 great demons, Ronove. I am pleased to make your acquaintance. Just who was he aiming that introduction at? Kraus and Kirie, who were still down on their backsides, and Nanjo and God and Kumasawa, who could only look up in shock at this middle-aged gentleman who they have never met before. Only Shannon and Kanon seemed to recognize him, and they bowed deeply. I see. I was unable to greet Genji. I hope that he was at least able to complete his duty painlessly. He was an instant death from a direct hit to the head. He didn't have time to feel the pain. Is that so? Very good. Allow me to introduce another of my friends. Arise, my friend, Virgilia. Once again, the figure of someone unknown to the relatives appeared out of thin air. She appeared in an elegant dress while greeting them gracefully. I thank you for summoning me, my lord. Although I would rather not have been summoned in a sanguinary place such as this. Allow me to introduce her to... This is my friend and reliable counselor both, Virgilia. I want to borrow your power as a great finite witch for my ritual. Lend me that power. Someone under your powerful summoning subordination, I will not be permitted to refuse even if I tried. As you wish, my lord. He is a fearsome fellow. To think that he summoned 3 of the siesta sister corps, then me, and even Virgilia-sama. Even though it is only in the area of summoning, to think that he far surpasses me, lady, is frightening. The Ushiramiya blood makes my own run cold. I will put in all I have as a summoner into the execution of Beatrice's resurrection ritual. It's still not enough. In order to perfectly succeed in the ritual this time, I shall summon more. The Pendragon Memorial troops run over and Virgilia, and I can still call for more. With my magical power, I can still call many more. Answer my summons. One of the 72 demons, Gap. Gap? You can even summon her? She probably means that the corrosion has advanced even more on this island. It's enough to enable us to manifest. It will surely not be a surprise to see him summon any kind of great demon at this stage. No podemone. The Rokkenjima has already been completely sucked into a parallel world. I hope he doesn't surrender. You gave him a good ideal of hints last time, didn't you? After all this time, he won't surrender over this much. Probably, I should say. Well then, I suggest we enjoy the action unfolding on this stage. It seems the main character is the master this time. Let us look forward to a script of a different flavor than Milady's. As Kinzo strongly concentrated his magical power, a pale blue light gathered in the air, twisted, and a magical circle began to be drawn with a deep red light. Sì! E anche Happy Maria, let's go! Then he shattered with a sound like glass, and a new demon could be seen there. I am glad to see you answered my call. Gap, one of the 72 great demons. This is a hell of a place I've been summoned into. Did you call me to clean up this blood-stained room? Goldsmith? This literally devilish woman, wrapped in a gaudy, ominous costume, looked at this horrifying scene which should have made her cover her eyes, and her mouth twisted into a grin. You have been if that had been the only reason for calling you, he would be using a cashmere scarf to mop the floor. It's been a long time, Gap. To think that a great demon such as yourself has finally appeared on this island. I wonder if this island has nearly sunk into fantasy. This all-star cast is more astonishing than the gruesome state of the room. A full 3 siesta sisters, the great demon Ronover, and the great witch Virgilia, and even me. What's going on? Is this pandemonium? Are you trying to start a concert from hell or something? Yes, as a conductor for that, I can't imagine anyone other than you, Goldsmith. I will have your assistance as a facilitator into the completion of my ritual to resurrect Beatrice. You have no objection to my summoning contract, I assume? Objections? There's no way I could fight the summoning subordination of the legendary great summoner, Lord Goldsmith, who enslaved the famous great witch Beatrice. I'll assist you, although I will of course charge a fitting price. So, what's my first job? Capture the simpletons who made it through the first twilight. Fortunately, they are still 7 here, are they? Nanjo, Shannon, Canon, Goda, Kumasawa, Kirie, and Kraus. Oh, if the 7s are also offered the sacrifices, that's exactly 13 people. Until it is time for the second and later twilights to be carried out, throw them in a cage of sacrifices. A cashmere mop, I see. Understood. As Gap shrugged her shoulders, she looked at Kraus, who was still down on his knees, on his butt. She glared. Then she snapped her fingers and Kraus was swallowed up by the floor, as though a round pitfall had opened up there. One down. There was no hole in the floor, but it certainly looked as though Kraus had been swallowed up by a hole and disappeared. Searching for her next prey, Gap gazed across Kirie's and snapped her fingers. Kirie jumped back as though repelled. Her instinct was correct, because in the place where she had been until a second ago, a round jet-black hole had appeared, the same kind that had swallowed up Kraus. However, before she could catch her balance, another pitfall appeared and swallowed her up. And even Kirie had no way of eluding Scap capture. Mi ha fatto un po' ridere, ho pensato un po' allo show di Gerry Scotti. Snap went her fingers once again, and a shocked Nanjo disappeared into the floor. Another snap of fingers, and 410 let out a short yelp and jumped back. This time a slightly larger pitfall had opened, taking both Shannon and Canon, who had been standing in a line by the door. Just because 410 had jumped away from the door, there was no longer blocked. The way was no longer blocked. Goda corre. Instinctively aware that they would be next, Goda dashed out through that door. Of course, Kumasawa too was hot on his heels and ran off. At lightning speed. Kumasawa, as Gap snapped her fingers over and over, round jet-black pitfalls opened one after another behind them, chasing them. However, they did not but ride the desperately fleeing pair forwards and could swallow them up. Goda and Kumasawa escaped in a matter of seconds. After all, I let you get away. Worry not, we are currently locking onto the fleeing targets. Data link, ready. Shall we snipe? No, I cannot authorize that. They are precious sacrifices. Wait for Master's authorization. Great Lord Goldsmith, we await your orders. It's still too soon for the coming of the second twilight. Is what the source of my magical power is whispering to me. No. Let them do as they like. They cannot escape from this island in any case. The source of your magical power is noise and risk. Of test of luck. Your whims, in other words. Perhaps you could also put it that way. Go work. Let us proceed steadily with the ritual from here on. Well then, what is that? Next is my grandchildren. I will test them to see whether they are qualified to succeed me. Let me see how best to check their qualifications. You determine that they are qualified. Do you intend to abandon Beato's resurrection? If you determine that they are qualified, do you intend to abandon Beato's resurrection? Of course. Yet, still I will test them. I doubt a woman can understand that contradiction or my madness. There's always something not quite right about men. The very concept of playing with risk is beyond me. Oh, man, I thought you loved that sort of thing. Of course. If a man whispers intimacies in my ear along with a dangerous risk, I get heads over heels. But only if he's a stud. Quiet, please. No talking amongst yourselves. Truly noisy women. But at least they don't bore me. This is why summoning is so gratifying. All of you will bear one side of the scales of noise and risk in my ritual. I am anticipating great results. 6 brutally murdered corpses laid in dining hall, which was tarnished by a red and gruesome decoration. By now it was impossible to imagine that 13 people had been sitting here in an orderly manner just moments ago. Kinzo lined up the demons of renown and their subordinates, loudly declared the beginning of an overwhelming night of mass murder, and swore to himself that he would certainly revive Beatrice and open the door to the Golden Land. Allora, non so, io finirei qui. Non so se finisce adesso il capitolo, ma abbiamo fatto 45 minuti in più questa volta. Quindi la prossima volta leggiamo tutto, perché sono sicuro che qua avremo un po' di roba da leggere. Abbiamo, guarda quanta gente. Abbiamo la nuova Siesta Sister, abbiamo Gap, abbiamo teoricamente 𝙻𝙾𝚁𝚳, che è stato tornato che è stato tornato in vita, che è stato riportato in vita. Poi vabbè, qua non sono ancora contati come morti, quindi non li metto come morti. Però per il momento io direi di concludere qui.